We're back. It's time for the 2024 Urban Nerdcon. Join us in Atlanta, Georgia, April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel. Special guests include Underworld creator Kevin Grievous, Gary Gray from Fairly Odd Parents, from Nickelodeon, Giovanni Samuels, the Science Machine Michael Green, the Sci-Fi Sisters, and from Spaceballs and Star Trek Voyager, Tim Russ.
Hi, I'm Tim Russ. Join me April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia for the Urban Nerdcon. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone con. I'll see you there. Live long and prosper.
Visit theurbannerdcon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
With your bad self. Welcome to another Wednesday night edition of the O&G Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, and joining us today, filling in for Marcus Green, none other than Keith Hadley of Fangs Up Podcast, FQ FAMU. Gentlemen, I got family in the house tonight. FAMU Lee and family in the house. How y'all brothers doing today?
Doing well. Just trying to stay warm.
Is it cold up in Tallahassee?
Doing awesome, man.
You're in Orlando. What do you mean staying warm, Keith? You're right here where I am.
I am, but man, it was colder than a duty posted this morning.
Oh, okay. I get it. What's the weather looking like up there in Tally, Kelvin?
It actually was a beautiful day today, man. More spring than it was winter. So, and we didn't have like 3 different seasons on the same day, so it was good.
Yeah. I feel that. I think didn't we have a day like that earlier in the week when it was like that?
Yeah. It was nice golf weather. Today was great golf weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. It was nice golf weather. Well, look, I see smiles on your face. I see smiles all over Rattler Nation's face, man. Rattler Nation is back to feeling good again. It is good to be wearing orange and green. It's good to have on letters on your chest to say FAMU. It's good to put these 2 fingers up this direction and not one finger going the other direction at a lot of people because we are FAMU, and FAMU is back to feeling good and happy because we got a lot of good news, man. It all starts with the fact that we got ourselves a coach. We got ourselves a coach and a head ball coach. We finally got one. It's official. That's right. None other than James Colzie III is well, there we go. Is officially the head ball coach. And so, everybody is feeling good, and as they should. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And there's what's funny, guys, is on the heels of that, all kinds of good news has been coming out for FAMU Athletics, players, coaches, teams. I mean, people getting wins, getting dubs, players getting recognized nationally and across the SWAC, man. I mean, good Lord. Tell you, why mess with the karma, baby? Why mess with the karma when it's rolling? Huh? Keith, where they do that at?
We're Rattlers, man. That's what we do. We
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 brag
expect
different.
to win championships, and we've got to get our administration in alignment with us.
Amen, boy.
They got to catch up, man. They can look. They need to understand the nuances of this fan base. I'll leave it at that.
I would think Well, damn. I mean, you would think that they did, or maybe they don't. Anyway, we'll get into talking about that and a lot of other things coming up today. Here's the menu for today. Obviously, as you see, Keith is joining us today, filling in for Marcus Green, who's out on assignment, taking care of some business. And so we're going to talk at the bottom of the hour when we told you we were going to bring back the fellas from First Strike, and we are. So coming up at the bottom of hour one, we're going to talk to Andrew and Michael from the First Strike group, go into a little more details, maybe even share some more nuggets that we didn't get a chance to talk about, or maybe share last week. Great proposals, great ideas. It's the kind of thinking that we need. We're also going to get into talking about some interesting budgetary news regarding FAMU Athletics, which came out earlier today. So we get a chance to kind of recap that. And then later on in hour two, bottom of hour two, our good friend Olivia Antilla, former FAMU women's basketball player, live for hoops, as she's known out on these social media streets, slaying people, boy. You come at her wrong and you will get got. That's all I'm going to tell you. Don't come at Liv wrong. she'll back you down and give you a straight two-piece on the low block and hit you with a turnaround jumper, like Liv used to do back in the day when she was playing in the Lawson Center. And so she's coming in to talk some FAMU hoops. We finally got some good news to talk about regarding FAMU hoops, man. I know Kelvin was in the house over the weekend, so we'll get to talking about that. All right, let's do it, fellas. Let's go through the roll call. Let's shout out our friends and family who jumped in on the chats. We'll give a good few minutes to the folks who decided to jump in. And first one in, of course, by an alias, of course. There's a Ken, I believe that's Ken, right? Ken coming in on the incognito. Kenneth coming in on the incognito account. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. First one in. The letters say it all right there. For us, by us, and FAMU. That's who we are. Don't slip. Melissa Wilson checking in. Coming in. Amen. Good to see you, Melissa. Thank you for checking in early. I see Meredith in there. Good to see you, Meredith. Dr. Lori's in the house early. Good to see you, Doc.
She said she's gonna be nice today.
Be on your behavior in there, folks. You know, we want to be an encompass. Look, we don't ruin the good feelings that we have right now. You know, Rattler Nation is feeling good. Doc's feeling good. We all feeling. Don't y'all come in here with some noise and some mess. Now, be productive, be insightful. You can be a little humorous, but if you get out of control, you will get dealt with. I'm just letting you know. Appreciate Doc for managing the chats in there. B Starks, good to see you. Good evening, brother. Good to see you, B Starks. Sam Dixie.
Sam.
Good to see you, Sam. Mary 305. Hello. How you doing, champ? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Bull comes in. Yeah, boy. That's some heavy news. With that FAMU lawsuit being thrown out. Can it be filed again? I don't know. Any of you care to touch on? Can it be filed again?
Absolutely. Let's go get the same counsel who has successfully filed in those other states. A little more seasoned, refine our filing. But yes, we definitely got to do that.
Okay. All right. I see Kenya in here. Kenya, how you doing, champ? Good to see you, Kenya.
What's up, champ?
Demetra, good to see you, Demetra. Thanks for joining us, coming in. Marcus, good to see you.
What's up, Marcus?
JT, thank you for coming in,
What's up, JT?
Yeah, Hollow coming in.
Hello.
Exactly. Feels
hello,
good.
Hollow.
It was amazing to hear that.
Amazing, exactly.
Let's see how tomorrow feels, though.
Ashton Harris, good to see you, Ashton. Thanks for checking in.
Ash?
Good to see you. Let's see. Watch JD TV.
Running back.
Exactly.
Yes. We got to get our championship rings, medallions, man. $300 or $275 for the pendant.
All right. Okay. So We're gonna save that for later, but I'm just gonna ask for anyone who might not know. Ring or pendant, Kelvin? Which one? Ring or pendant?
I'm leaning pendant. Put it on a necklace
What about you?
because I don't wear rings.
Ooh, there you go.
Ring or pin it? Can I go belt though? Like, I ain't gonna lie, I like that championship belt even better. It might be the old wrestling fan in me.
Hey, from what I saw, they about the same.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
it's about the same price.
I like the belt. Be able to walk around with it. You can walk in the stadium with the belt, and folks can't say much. But like, excuse me, you just point to the belt.
Yeah, it's a nice little keepsake, though. Nice little keepsake. I'm sorry, I'm fumbling around with something here, so I'm sorry. Trying to do 5 things at once. All right, EA comes in. I love EA always telling us to Rattlers, we got our guy, but we must remain vigilant.
You know the whole story on how he got there, and
there it is. He said it all. Don't have to say no more. EA, love your honesty, brother. Love the fact that you always come in keeping it real. 100. I see Chuck Hunt
coming in, checking in from Monroe, Louisiana.
What's up, Chuck?
What's up, Chuck? Western Louisiana.
West Louisiana. Miss Joanne coming in from California.
California.
Hey.
Right.
What's up, Miss Joanne?
All right.
Robert Vickers, Rattler Nation. We are.
Look, it's not blue, it's black. I can get away wearing some black. I couldn't change
real quick. Hello. So as long as
Good catch, Tyler. Good catch.
Good timing, Jimmy Mack. Let's see. What do we got? Let's see. What did Jimmy Mack say? Wait till Tampa. Yeah. Okay.
Is that going to happen? That's going to be interesting. The NAA in their meeting, they asked for AD Sykes to show up down there at Tampa. So, some of the people in the NAA meeting are definitely fans of the ONG StrikeZone because they suggested a round table where they could meet with the athletic director. So,
Well, hey, look, what she said. She said she was open to, working better with the Keith. You laughing like you don't believe it. That's what she said. Her words.
Look, I'm with you, Brian. I think there's a certain way it should be done, but that's just me.
Hey, look, it is what it is. Dakari Calhoun. All right, appreciate you.
Dakari.
All right, I don't know
what's up, nephew.
All right, appreciate you. Stephen Campbell. All right, Mr. Campbell.
What's up, Coach?
Great
Coach,
tweets.
preacher.
Great.
You got about 30 titles.
Hey, Master.
We call him old champ.
The gift king. I mean, he just finds these gifts. These great. The best one was the snake on the tree. That just,
yes, sir. Our first
snuck that dude.
Our
right
first
in the
conference
face.
win over the mangy Tigers.
Hey, they had a tough time down in Florida, didn't they? They had a real tough time down in Florida. Went out to that little school out on the East Coast and got stuck in the sand over there in the sand trap, and then they rolled up to Tallahassee and got bit by some snakes. Man, I tell you what. I know they're happy to be back in Mississippi. I tell you that. So, shout out to FAMU men's basketball team. All right. Well, as I said, you fellas ready to get going? You fellas ready?
Absolutely, man. Look, Brian, you say if we're not gonna gang up on you, we know you're the only one who never went to DRS at any time. It's okay.
But that's funny. It's funny you say that. But my first college roommate is a graduate of DRS. One of my best friends here in Orlando, a graduate of DRS. So, some of my boys from the staff, and we were rolling around Tallahassee, DRS fellas.
And you worked for Desta Martin while you was in school.
DRS.
Look at that.
We got you, dog. We got you.
You honorary. You not as quite as honorary as me, but you honorary.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all always looking out.
Hey,
Always.
hey, what is this DRS stuff? The
I'll
high.
stop. The high. FAMU high. That's right. FAMU high. There it is. All right. Well, there it is. James Colzie. Let's start with the lead story right off the bat, man. It's official. The 19th head coach of Florida A&M's football team, Coach James Colzie, moving from being the interim coach to the head coach. There you can see at the press conference, everybody all smiles, all happy. VP Sykes in the killer snakeskin boots, killing it. And of course, everybody's in there getting a photo op in, doing what they do.
Leave T Diddy alone. All in the videos.
You talk about your president. You talk about your president.
Oh, God.
Thought you was talking about T Diddy over there,
Oh, I thought you were talking about. Okay, you stop. Let's stop now. Okay, so hey, so the biggest question that came out, and we spent a little bit of time talking on our Sunday sports wrap about the list and the names. We don't have to really get into that, but just the significance of Colzie and what it means. Now, obviously, there's some challenges in the rest of the staff. I think a lot of staff will stay in place, but I think there's some major questions. One, defensive coordinator. I think as much as I think Ryan Smith would love to stay, I think he feels some kind of way, and I don't blame him. Because again, you went over from being the associate head coach to really the disrespect from the administration is hurtful. And I don't, as great a man as Colzie might be, there's nothing he can do. When you've been anybody out there who's been disrespected at their job, you know what he's feeling. He may like the people he works with, direct or indirect supervisors, but from an organizational standpoint, that's going to be hard to get over. And so we know that there are opportunities there for him, and in his heart, he's got to figure out what he wants to do. So my question to you, Kelvin, and then Keith, outside of that, I wonder about the offensive coordinator position. But what's your thought on the biggest challenges that Colzie has, or where does Colzie go to fill in the staff?
Well, before I answer that, let me just fill in some information about his contract.
Okay.
He's got a 3-year deal, $230,000 for the first year, $240,000 for the second year, and $250,000 for year number 3. He can earn up to $95,000 in annual bonuses, with the high being $50,000 from a Celebration Bowl victory. So it is a $10,000 bonus for academic APR meeting those standards for the NCAA. $200,000 of the salary is coming from FAMU. The difference is paid by the foundation. So it's a friendly contract. Number one, a very affordable contract. And I think it's fair, given the circumstances. And it's only 3 years, so the expectations with a 3-year contract is you prove your mettle in year 1, and he just happens to have a team that is talented enough, that is experienced enough, and the core of a staff together enough where he can run it back. And that's going to be the theme. I'm sure that's going to be branded on everything for our upcoming football season. Run it back, and it should be. It'll be interesting because he's primarily been on the defense side of the ball. What he does with his quarterback coach position, as well as the OC. Will he let the lineman and offensive coordinator coach Henry? Will he let the OC call the plays, or is he going to bring somebody in? that remains to be seen. And then, the big elephant in the room, DC. But we have I would anticipate, don't know this for sure, but Coach Patterson is been there almost as long as Coach Smitty. So if Smitty goes, then the anticipation is that he'll become the full-time DC, which he was uh DC last year. So I don't expect to miss too much of a beat. I like the fact that people who were in the portal have kind of come back to us now in terms of internal guys for the most part. We had one that joined the portal in Lovey Jenkins, and then also a couple of recruits that were committed who had kind of got out the fold. They're back in the fold now. So, the good thing is we didn't have the mass exodus that we saw with other programs, including Alabama this year, once they lost their coach. And the fact that Rattler Nation kind of forced the issue and made sure that we were in this position. That was very important. But I have confidence in Coach Colzie and his ability collectively with this staff. So I'm optimistic and I'm excited.
All right, Keith, what are your thoughts?
I think Cuz hit one of the nails on the head, especially when you're talking about Smitty Rock. I mean, the writing's on the wall. We've tried to be nice and not break the news, but we all see it. We know what's coming. We know what's up. So can you name a new defensive coordinator? But then also on the other side of this, now that we got into the flip side of this, and all jokes aside, I have no whatever towards AD Sykes. Those are jokes. But can you come in and fill in that gap? Because there's a lot of distrust within the alumni base and within the fan base of her. Can you come up there and be that person that can kind of be that savant with words that Willie Simmons was? I mean, Willie Simmons was a communications major. Colzie is working on his PhD. So can you come in and be that guy that can galvanize Rattler Nation to build back trust in? Because this may be that time where he's got to step up and be that voice to generate the revenue and the dollars so that he's not the person over there trying to get $10,000 fish fries for equipment.
Yeah. It'll be it. Look, the one thing that caught me as I'm listening to her AD Sykes and give the intro to Colzie. I'm a little disappointed she didn't thank Rattler Nation for their input. She thanked a lot of people. She didn't thank Rattler Nation. That would have those are the little tongue-in-cheek opportunities that you miss out on when you have a good writer. Somebody should put it. Somebody would have put that in the speech and said, make sure you thank Rattler Nation. Because that you gotta have. I know you can be all tight and upset, but you gotta have a little fun every now and then, and that would have gone a long way into just warming the masses a little, and just kind of having a little fun with a tough time. Okay. But anyway, I noticed how much she talked about the academics, which is always confusing to me. And again, I can't wait till these APRs come out and these scores. Again, APR being a system I think is eventually going to go away. But it's like, okay, we're the fact that Colzie is on his way to potentially being Dr. Colzie, hey, that's great. But let's keep it 100. I mean, you're hiring the man hopefully you're hiring the man to be a football coach. And that's what you're going to hold him most accountable for. I mean, I can give two flips. I hate to say this. Okay, I'm being real here. If we're 5 and 6 and everybody's graduating, okay, that's great. But we're searching for a 10-win season, and we'll take whatever comes with that in a 10-win season.
I mean, that's why Randy Shannon's at Florida State and not at the University of Miami. I mean, he was graduating players, but they weren't winning games, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to winning games, and I think that your first year, as you said, Kelvin, that first year is key. It's already being talked about. And I can't wait till people start throwing out their predictions, and we talk about running it back and everything. So hey, no pressure right off the bat, and once we really start getting into it and saying, what does that threshold look like? I mean, yes, we have a 12-game season. Yes, we have 2 FBS. So, inherently, what are you already thinking? Do the math, folks. You're already saying, well, we're shooting for 10, right? I mean, it's not too soon to honestly say it. Or, if we end up with, look, it's like,
You
if
being
we
nice,
end up with,
Brian. You saying 10? Who's the quarterback?
okay, see, we got
I
a
ain't
lot of
trying to be
answers.
mean, but I started asking questions early.
It's the reality, yeah. One more question about that contract. There's no there's no Hugh Jackson clause in there, is it? Where after 2 seasons, there's an opt out, right? I mean, did you happen to catch any language like that in the contract terms, or I mean, there's no so it's a legitimate 3 years. Obviously, you can choose to move away from anybody at any time, but in terms of giving yourself an out. Did you happen to read anything of that kind of nature, Kelvin? I don't think so. How about you, Keith?
I hadn't read
I
the
haven't
whole.
seen it.
I actually hadn't read the whole thing.
Okay, I got you.
I imagine it
Yeah.
got the customary clauses in it. In terms of you always have conditional things in there. So like if you commit an NCAA violation, or if you do something personal that brings embarrassment to the program, you always gonna have those conduct clauses and stuff like that in there.
Right.
So,
But the
I'm
other
pretty sure
question is,
those are in there. But outside of that,
the other
I would
question has to be,
anticipate
what
it
happens
being
if he gets poached though? Like, did we learn anything from the Willie Simmons contract? Where, I mean, it was a friendly contract, but did we have any type of buyout if he leaves early? Like, at a certain point, we as HBCUs have to stop playing this game of y'all do what you do at a white PWI and we do what we do at HBCU space. Like, we have to get to the point where we're sitting here and looking at these coaches' contracts and saying, hey, you know what? You're somebody that another school should want. And that being said, we're going to write into our contract that if you leave early, we get some type of financial kickback, and that financial kickback is used to pay off the next coach. So it should go both ways. It shouldn't just be something where we pay less if you leave early, but it should also be somewhere we get paid if you leave early for another school.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Great point. We should be in a position where somebody's going to want you because you're going to have success, and this is going to be a great program because of who we are. And we are a blue blood. We are one of the top 4. Hell, I don't care what that FCS poll that had different. We are a top program in the FCS, I believe. And we just have to get there. We have to get everybody on the same page. So we'll talk more about the impact of some of the recruiting related news if we get to, but there's a lot more athletic related news to come. On the other side of this break that's coming up, we're going to talk with the group from First Strike. Coming back a second time, we'll get a chance to talk to Andrew Whigham and Michael David, and we'll get a chance to possibly share more detailed information regarding what they're proposing and what they're bringing forth to our administration. And we might have to start writing some letters. We might have to start sending some emails and making some calls. Just saying. All right, stay tuned. Hang in there. Don't go far. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
We're going to Florida, and we're going to bring you back a victory to Jackson. Yeah. God the yard!
What'd you say now, Chuck? Man, you a plumb fool, man.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian Kelvin and Keith Hadley in tonight. And joining us from our first strike group, we've got Andrew Whigham, the president of the group. Andrew, good to have you back on with us. How you doing tonight?
Good. It's great to be on, man. I'm just a great day for FAMU. It's kind of like I don't know. I can't come up with the right. I'm trying to respect the audience tonight. It was a long time coming. I'm going church on it. It was a long time coming.
Hey, happy feelings, man. We're happy to. Everybody's happy. We're in a euphoric state right now, so it's okay. Michael David joining us, the marketing and promotions director. Michael, how you doing?
Just great, Brian. Just glad to be with you, and just ready to see FAMU move forward and do great things.
Right. Now, did we and you guys tell me, did we plan to have a third party joining us? Because I'm not sure if we did or not. That's why I'm just kind of curious, because I don't know. Kelvin, did any nope. Okay.
No, it's Andrew, President Whigham, and myself. However, another first strike member does have that same email.
Okay. So they may just be joining us in the back room. Okay. That's all. I just like to ask, because I just want to make sure. Okay. Kelvin, why don't you go ahead and get it started? I'm still loading up a couple of those images out of the presentation that we wanted to, some of the images that we wanted to kind of set forth. So I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay, I want to go back and just kind of reorientate everybody to what First Strike is, how it came about, and what are you proposing to move FAMU athletics forward, especially given what we just saw in terms of requests and from the foundation from athletics, as well as, talk about the budget and deficits and so forth. So kind of just tell us about what it is.
First strike,
basically. Go ahead, Michael.
First, what to do is to provide new construction of athletic facilities or to renovate athletic facilities. And part of that plan is to be able to licensing. And along with that, First Strike has the ability to produce events. So I think in light of what happened today, First Strike with this, First Strike has a proposal, FAMU Athletics, to play the South Carolina State football game in Jacksonville on August 31st. That's the FAMU South Carolina State game. And we got a great commitment from the city of Jacksonville. And we know now that on Labor Day weekend, Florida State will be in town playing, and that never is well for FAMU because of hotels and all the other things. And if we're truly about maximizing revenue for FAMU Athletics, right now, that game is a no. That game is a no because FAMU Athletics wants to do 500. We have two in conflict with FSU, that being the August 30th against South Carolina State and the homecoming. So we're trying to address this with FAMU Athletics and say, hey, there's a game in town that weekend. We can go 2.5 hours. We have a great all on the table in Jackson.
Hey, Michael, are you moving? Michael, are you moving or
you broke up?
Or something is you fading in and out?
Okay.
Is it me or is it him?
No. It's a little bit on him. Andrew, why don't you go ahead and get, while we get Michael's connection a little bit better, why don't you go ahead and fill in some of those details that came out of that that board. And for many people, that foundation board meeting happened just a few hours ago. So I'm out of the loop in terms of what happened there. So Andrew, if anything that you can expand upon on how that affects your projects and presentations.
Okay. I could just speak too, because I just got in. I had a late day at the hospital, but yet and still, our the way we came into fruition is one of just trying to help FAMU grow. We, prior to Willie giving us the shocking information, we were all set to go, had some things together, and we're not going to back off those things that we had scheduled. But be that it's May, we just have to pick up our chips and keep rolling. And the thing is, we wanted to help FAMU. You mentioned on your previous show about homecoming, with the numbers. We're also talking about Tallahassee, of just the lack of resources as far as hotels when we come to town. And lo and behold, when you have both teams in town, somebody's going to come up short. And supply and demand, basic economics 101, they know it's a demand for them, so they're going to shoot the prices up. So what we're trying to do, if offset it, if we can, to go another place and give them an alternative to go so that we can still make money for our athletic program. Last week they were talking about the young ladies with the bowling and situations like that. And that's just, just unacceptable. If something could have been done to keep those young ladies on the team, it may be more to the story than what we've been told, but it's a black eye to FAMU when we lose athletes. And the bowling squad is one of our best kept secrets on there. So the way we came into fruition, what can we do to make FAMU better? And I mentioned on your previous show is that if it wasn't for FAMU, we wouldn't have what we have today. That was the beginning. And we just wanted to give something back. And giving back is just for my experiences in life. I've been away from the campus over 30 years now. Still in touch because my daughter was there a couple of years ago. And there are a lot of deficiencies in that armor, excuse me, of FAMU. And we just wanted to use our know-how, take the foundation we did learn from FAMU, and then take it with our life experiences and make things happen. So that's how we came into fruition. And then we were thinking about seating. As I mentioned, you go around a lot of stadiums today and they have premium seating, and that's how they have additional funds. University of Kansas has it. When we played Texas Southern, I went down to Houston and they had the same setup in a soccer stadium. And we really got our heads turning with that. And that's what we wanted to do. What could we do for FAMU? You know, everyone has to play a part. I've never said I had deep pockets. But again, the ingenuity that we have, along with some of the gifts the Lord has blessed us with, we wanted to make sure that FAM gets on that higher tier. And the only way they can do it is with our help.
All right, let's see. I got Michael, we got you back in there.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yep, you sound good. You sound good. All right.
Great.
All right.
And quick correction, this year we only have one weekend where we share home games with Florida State, and it would be that homecoming weekend that we had. That other weekend, FSU out of town.
Didn't Florida State just change something?
They just changed their homecoming, but that week they can't play because that week before they're playing in Dublin, Ireland. So because of that week 0 time and travel and everything, they had to take that weekend off. That where we would play that South Carolina State game. So FSU's not in town.
They're off that week. They're off August 31st weekend.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we didn't know that. Okay, well, that game would still do very well in Jacksonville.
Talk a little bit about the numbers related to that deal, because again, I know for a fact I had conversations with some people at Jacksonville 2 years ago when Jackson State was coming into town, and I know that was the first year they did the game with Bethune-Cookman. Last year they did it with Southern, but they are looking to try to be a player back in the college athletic scene.
Correct. And the city of Jacksonville very much wants FAMU to return to Jacksonville. So they have made a commitment. And right now, that guarantee to FAMU is $350,000 plus meals, travel, accommodations for football team, cheerleaders, and marching band. And it also has upside potential. And it's a solid offer backed by the city of Jacksonville. It's just how do we make it happen? They've had the offer for a couple of weeks, and they're still saying that this being FAMU, that they want to play 5 home games. But Jacksonville would be a great market. Jacksonville has almost 350,000 Black folk in low drive time or right there in Duval County. And we think it'll do really well. And we're hoping that there's a change in mindset in that the administration and the powers that be see that this could be a great opportunity in so many ways for FAMU.
What does and Keith, I'm gonna let you get in here with any questions you may have, but is there any talk of television? And we talk about extra revenue that may come in. So the 300, you said the number again was 350, 325?
$350,000.
That's okay. So that's after expenses, correct? At 350 is what, after all the expenses of travel and everything else?
No, it's a guarantee of 350.
Okay.
Plus meals, travel, and accommodation for football team, cheerleaders, and marching band. At this time, typically now streaming plays a big part of this, and we have not had conversations related to TV, other than we know that that's a possibility. A lot of games are being shown on a lot of different platforms, so that opportunity is there. But the revenue share for FAMU will come about through ticketing, hitting certain ticketing goals, and selling tickets, being incentivized to sell tickets more so than a percentage of TV revenue, which won't be significant with a first year game. So it will be a guarantee, and then they are incentivized. They don't have to sell any tickets at all. They would still get the 350. But if they do sell tickets, then they get a commission for those tickets, then that pot can grow even bigger.
Gotcha. I may have another question or two, but Keith, I want to let you jump in there. Any questions that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So and as you're mentioning this, what is kind of the goal as far as mixing with athletics? Is there kind of a hope that with some of these other games, and if you look at the future schedules, you see that we have the University of Georgia playing quite a ways away, but there's a very good likelihood if they continue on the trajectory they're on that there may be a buyout opportunity where they may buy FAMU out and say, hey, you go play someone else other than us. But do you foresee an opportunity where you try to make Jacksonville kind of a good in between place because you have that JRE Lee National Alumni Association group, and that's also really in between Tallahassee, Orlando, and Volusia County as well?
Again, we think Jacksonville would be a great market because you don't have to compete with the University of Miami in Miami or a University of South Florida in Tampa or Central Florida in Orlando. Jacksonville is unimpeded in the city, and people in Jacksonville are very hungry for to see FAMU in Jacksonville. Also, I want to add, we are an affinity group in support of FAMU athletics. So, in addition to premium seats and those type of things, it is our goal to produce events to generate income. It is our goal to generate monies to help facilitate student activities or whatever they need. So to that end, we did introduce our on-campus classic, and it's the game. I believe it's the Alabama A&M game, and it's called We Are Family Tallahassee Football Classic, and it has a different emphasis where it is meant to engage FAMU with broader Tallahassee, where we invite FSU, Tallahassee Community College, and all state county employees to the south side of the tracks, and we feel it would be a great way for people to come see the friendly confines of Bragg Stadium and be introduced to FAMU culture. You'll be surprised how many people live north of the tracks that don't venture south. So We Are Family Tallahassee Football Classic is meant to connect FAMU with the municipalities and then introduce FAMU to the Great Bend area. So they do want to do that, meaning FAMU athletics, and we're working through that. It's a different kind of deal. It's not a guarantee in the sense of what we know with the Jacksonville Gateway Football Classic, but it's still an opportunity for FAMU athletics to generate some great revenue with the things that we want to do to support putting the butts in the seat at Bragg Stadium.
And another question, considering where Jacksonville is, and naturally the 100 plays there almost every year, would that be an opportunity to maybe even offset the cost? If for instance, if FAMU plays in the stadium on Saturday, the Jaguars play on Sunday, is that an opportunity where maybe the Jaguars could actually pay for the 100 to come, and that really covers that day and really almost covers the 2 days, just to kind of split the bill a little bit?
We love that. We
Oh,
love
yeah,
that. You want to make a comment about that, President Whigham?
Well, the thing is that we've always, even when we were in school, that was that between Tampa, Miami, Orlando. Well, Tampa, Miami, and Jacksonville. We didn't go to Orlando that often at that time, and anytime they could play there in Jacksonville, and I know they played last year, that would be a easier drawing card for the Jaguars, because we know the Rattlers are going to perform at such a level that even people that close that may not, they know FAMU is up I-10, but probably have never been that way, surprisingly. But being with the Jaguars, they know they would definitely have a outstanding halftime performance. So hopefully they would kind of kick in as well. And that's just a win-win for the school,
And
because there are a lot of demands on us.
My last one, because we do know, and here in Orlando, we're wooing the Jaguars to come down here for a few years. How would that be impacted by the future expansion of the stadium? They're going to enclose it, and it's pretty much for 2 years going to be shut down, where you can't use that stadium facility in Jacksonville. Is that going to impede or impact some of the planning you all are doing?
Definitely. We hope to have a 5-year commitment, 3 with 2 extensions, and the stadium they're going to construct the stadium, if I'm not mistaken, 26, 27. Then they come back in 28. They haven't determined where they're going to play. And of course, no stadium for us to play. We'll look at other markets. Maybe Tampa would be a consideration since there is not a consistent classic there, and would be a great market for it. But I feel great about it because the city of Jacksonville has really stepped up and they made a commitment in no time at all. We want this to happen. And again, we're hoping that FAMU sees the opportunity to bring the 100, to bring Rattler football to Jacksonville. There's so many FAMU alumni in the Jacksonville area that we know that it will. We feel strongly that it's going to put up some great numbers. We've said we think we could do 30 to 40,000 in Jacksonville with the campaign and the things that we're going to do to really drive the attendance. So it's a win-win all around. But yes, it would be out of commission for 2 years in Jacksonville, and we will have to look at other markets, what's happening in Tampa for the most part.
Right. And I want to add this too, with Jacksonville shutting down, I guess Orlando would be the closest spot. I don't know if they would go to Gainesville. I don't know if Gainesville could accommodate what is needed for professional football, even though they have a great facility there. But yeah, the opportunity is there for them and for them to grow. And then if we get in before they do that, we put a good taste in their mouth so that when they revamp their stadium, then it's it's an open door at that point, because Jacksonville was always one of the first places that we would always travel to during our days there on the hill.
And we definitely want to get in now so that we could be grandfathered in. When they build new stadiums, when they build new stadiums, you look at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Allegiant Stadium, SoFi Stadium, it will probably cost, and I'm not exaggerating, it's going to probably cost $800,000, $1 million to rent it then. So we want to be grandfathered in. That's how come it's so crucial that we get our foot in the door now with Everbank Stadium, because once they build this new stadium, I've seen it. They charge so much more to lease that stadium. And right now in the world of stadiums, prices are all over the place. But when it's a new stadium, you're going to end up having to pay rent. It'll be easily 6, 7, 800, even $1 million to do one 3-hour event, and that is no exaggeration.
Hey, a couple of questions from out of the chat room, and you may have already answered this. I know I had a little technical issue and I lost my connection, but and these are two questions which sort of feel very similar, so I'm just gonna put them up both here. Jimmy Mack had asked, is Jacksonville offering the stadium and security as an in-kind gift? And then the other question was, is the city presenting to cover the cost of the stadium, cost other expenses?
Eugene, go ahead. Hey,
well, no,
Dave,
no.
Dave?
The stadium is not an in-kind gift. There is definitely an expense to the stadium. In fact, we went through that last week. And but again, the city of Jacksonville, Everbank Stadium, the Sports Commission are all involved with it, and we've expressed what can help us most. Sometimes when you do an event, cash is important, but in-kind and trade is just important. So we do put an emphasis on there being a high level of in-kind and trade, but no, it is definitely not a free situation. But it's turning out to be a good deal, one that we feel is equitable, and then and it's based on scale. It's based on attendance. It gives you a chance, as opposed to them charging us a flat rate, like, okay, it's going to cost $500,000. That's a deal we don't want. So it's a scale deal, and it's making sense for us. It'll put us in a good situation.
Kelvin, let me ask you a question, because from what I've heard now, even from last week and this week, from the Florida A&M perspective, their holdup seems to be about a 5th game and having 5 home games. Can you let people know what is the estimated, and Keith, you may know this, or even Andrew or Michael, what is the estimated value or the revenue that FAMU will generate from a home game that early in the season?
So
Meaning
typically,
I'll answer on that one right
go
quick.
ahead.
Okay.
Well, anytime in the past we've had to go to Miami. Anytime you have a home game, that's exposure. You boost the morale of your student body. We're able to pay for the tickets now, and we'll come from wherever. But I tell you, when we were students, that was the highlight of being able to not have to drive to Jacksonville or Miami or Tampa, but the impact it had on the student body. I thought, especially after I worked with student government, I thought that was just a great thing, on campus for that, bringing the students. But if you have an opportunity where you can make more money, which is everything's commercialized now, going somewhere else might, help our program, because we all know we're not out of the woods yet on a lot of situations there financially at FAM.
Well, I would say that for FAMU, definitely on campus right now, there's only about 19,000 seats at Bragg Stadium. It used to be 25,000. And so when you add in the students and then the alumni, the gross potential is not what it used to be. So going on the road and playing in a major market like Jacksonville for FAMU is high profile. It'd be the place to be, the big event. And with Jacksonville, if we do a 5-year deal, we know we won't be there for 2-year deal. They're increasing it $25,000 every year. So for 5 years, it's going to be a $2 million deal for FAMU. It'll be a 5-year deal, and hopefully they'll do 3 with 2 extensions. And then for Jacksonville, it's economic impact. When we play classes in these major markets, we see Orlando. That's a $34 million economic impact. But we have only been getting $1 million for the last 25 years, or since it's been down. It's a shame, and I'm not going to say nothing else about that. But economic impact is what they want. Heads and beds, ears and eyeballs is what they want. And then diversity. Diversity. It means a lot to have an event that's going to bring back multicultural. Jacksonville is an international city, and this will add greatly to the fabric and the community of Jacksonville. So it's a win-win for FAMU and for the citizens of Jacksonville. Economic impact for the city, multicultural, and then for FAMU, if it's 3 years, it'll be around, I think that's around about a million or so. But definitely, if it's 5 years, 3 with 2 extensions, it's a $2 million guarantee, and that doesn't include possible bonuses. So I think it's a great opportunity.
And I think, Brian, what you was trying to get to, what do we make at a home game typically at FAMU? So I think a generous number, because a lot of times folks just don't think about the expenses of having a home game with the security and the operations, the concessions folks, the people out there who's handling the parking, folks who keeping stats. It's just a plethora of expenses that really add up and eat into whatever you get from the gate and parking in those packages. So I believe there was a presentation maybe a year ago, if not a little less, where I think we average at best about up to 100K net after a home game outside of homecoming. So
You're right, Coach.
so these guarantees that we're talking are more than what we would make at home net.
Right.
Yeah,
Let
and
me
the other
add
part of
to
it is we forget these are also recruiting events. So one of the things about the Florida Classic, the Florida Classic is a weekend. Like we talk about the game because a lot of us only go to the game, but the Florida Classic is the entire weekend. So that Friday, you actually have a college fair. Both universities do their own college fair. FAMU does one on Friday because everybody wants to go to that one. Cookman does their Saturday morning because nobody cares about them, because FAMU is the only real draw. Anyways, all disrespect aside, but it's a recruiting event, and you have schools and students from across the nation that come to that event and across the country. And what FAMU does is they run a they might actually get in. That's something similar that Jacksonville could do in there. I mean, we're seeing the impact that Raines High School is having on our students, but this is an opportunity, if it comes to fruition, where students from North Florida and South Georgia are both being able to get on-site admissions and other things to FAMU. And as Kelvin's point, we only make about $100,000 at home games.
Well, let me add to that point. Let me add to that point right quick.
Go ahead, and I'll step up.
Now, Kevin, Mr. Roger, going to your point in regards to what the net is for FAMU home games. FAMU leaves a lot of money on the table when you consider the monies that not being made from food and beverage, which is major for facilities. You can make significant money just from food, beverage, alcohol, and then, of course, merchandise sales. And the revenue for parking is divided different ways. But that's 100,000 in ticket money. There's probably another 50, 75, or 100,000 that's not being made because FAMU is not at a point where it's maximizing food and beverage, parking, and rights fees from sponsorship, advertising. None of that's being maximized. Now, if we go to Jacksonville, if that comes to fruition, exactly, there are added value events for recruitment, different ways to engage Jacksonville, from college fairs to different alumni events that all generate revenue that we hope a lot of that would stay in Jacksonville as well to make it a win-win. But when we look at a home game, it is much more than ticket revenue. Even with the project that we're introducing for club seats and VIP suites, it's all about capturing that money, capturing the food and beverage money, capturing the money for upgraded amenities, capturing the money for parking. And all of those things, when you add it up, can be very, very impactful financially. And we've not done a good job at all for decades maximizing revenues that can be generated. It's called self-revenue generation. And I'm going to stay positive, but we can do much better than what we've been doing.
Okay, so let me ask, sort of kind of to wrap up our time here. We understand the challenges. You've made the proposals to FAMU. We understand. What do you, obviously Rattler Nation's listening. Rattler Nation is here. What do you want? What do you need Rattler Nation to do to help push this forward? I mean, it sounds like there are some key people within administration that are supportive, but probably the biggest supporter is probably, or biggest supporters may not be. So what needs to happen to sort of swing this pendulum to a direction that they can see that, hey, this is an opportunity that we're missing out on in terms of generating significant revenue? What do you need from Rattler Nation? Or maybe a different way of saying it is, what's the next step?
Well, right now, it is definitely FAMU Athletics wants to play 5 home games. So we're in great hopes that FAMU NAA, 220 Quarterback Club, Rattler Boosters, National F Club, and other affinity groups and key stakeholders who really have a concern to seeing FAMU maximize all revenues from athletics to support student athletes and different causes, step up and communicate their desire to FAMU Athletics. Send emails, place calls, and let them know that by going to Jacksonville and playing in the Classic, the level of exposure that you're going to get and the money that can be generated in net. And these are verified funds. This is not ticketing money. These are verified funds from the city of Jacksonville that that it will go a long way in helping FAMU Athletics achieve its goals and dealing with debt and other things. So we just want Rattler Nation to say, hey, this will be great for FAMU. We need to go to Jacksonville August 31st, and I think it'll happen.
And let me add this.
Hey,
You
Brian,
know,
go ahead.
you were talking about the impact that it would have on Jacksonville. You know, we have to build up in order to come back. If we have the product, we have the team on the field, and we can do all kind of things through the medium of television exposure. Because FAMU, you know, we have all the accolades, but we have to make this thing complete. Because in order to compete, especially in the state of Florida, you're going to have to bring something special. And you know, you think Florida and Georgia, they'll pass up the opportunity to go places or to stay at home when they have the largest cocktail party. You know, has anyone ever thought about that? I'm sure they would love to have it on their campus, but what they generate there in Jacksonville, Jacksonville pretty much is the gateway to Florida, up 95-10, wherever you want to do. And if we're a part of that, I think it will really help with all the clubs, the 220, the boosters, the alumni association. You know, we really could spread our wings, and this is a great recruiting tool outside of that. Now, if we get to a point where Tallahassee can be super beneficial, you know, all roads end in Tallahassee, and that's how I've looked at it. And my people vision might be a little different from that, but if we build and work towards Tallahassee, then you know we got it made, because the whole thing is about the institution, helping the institution. If we could take some of the pressure off the university by the athletic department really doing their own thing to enhance their program, then I think our work would be at the point where it benefits everybody. And that's why we wanted to come to get together, because if we don't help ourselves, nobody else will.
Yeah,
Kelvin, go ahead.
we got to keep
Oh,
an
go
eye
ahead,
on
Keith.
this business though, because Georgia's trying to pull out of this game. Like I know you mentioned that Florida, Georgia's made it abundantly clear they make a lot more money keeping that game at home, and they are not trying to keep splitting that money. And
Right.
so that's an opportunity for FAMU, but UGA is trying to pull out of that game.
Right. And I can understand that, because they've always had to come to Florida. How will Florida feel going into Georgia? You know, we'll flip the hat on that. So I do understand it's all about economics. And they're in Athens. They have a large place. So I know they're trying to get everything, but they also pay a couple of $1 million for any team that comes into town. You know, we haven't looked at that side of the ledger. Out here at University of Texas, it's just stupid. And please, I know better than to say stupid, but the revenues that they generate at Texas A&M, anytime you can send a coach home with $10 million a year, what is that telling you? I mean, need I say more? These folks out here are crazy, and they back it. And so that's why you ask how to first strike. We're just trying to at least give FAMU the opportunity to grow and grow through athletics, but you have to spend to get. And Jimbo, I'm sure he back in Tallahassee enjoy life with that 10 million coming so often. So, and they mad at the athletic director in College Station, but he said we could have the money. We probably could pay Jimbo off earlier than we wanted to. So.
Kelvin, I know you wanted to get a word in.
Well, I just was going to add. I see Demetri kind of. There was some question about the expense side of it for the FAMU, and I just want to reiterate what they're pitching with that game is all expenses taken care of for the band, football team, and cheer squad. So that $350K guarantee in year one is just all net revenue. There's no expenses for FAMU Athletics for that game.
And also, it's not based on ticket sales, although there are incentives for actively being a part of the ticket sales, but it's not based on ticket sales. I heard you say that as well, Michael, correct?
Yes, it is not. There are ticketing incentives for selling tickets as a motivator because typically with classics, especially the new ones, the team don't push the gate the same way. So we try to incentivize them and with the opportunity to make money, but it's $350 guaranteed, City of Jacksonville. And again, expenses for football team, children's and marching band is paid for as well.
And see, at the end of the day, what I continue to hear is, I mean, we all, and I love all you guys in the chat rooms and the people who've texted me, and I know you guys are probably getting texts too, Kelvin and Keith. Look, there's a lot of reasons that people are skeptical. People are wondering, well, how is this being taken care of? What's this? Look, what the only thing that I'm hearing being the holdup by FAMU is a fifth home game, which means you, Rattler Nation, have to travel to Tallahassee, deal with jacked up hotel fees, which are 3 times higher than their normal rate, and then subpar in-game amenities. That's what you get to deal with for going to open the season at beautiful Bragg Memorial Stadium. That's what you get. Now, look, I want to be home and celebrate home games and home wins like everybody else. But I think until some of those amenities and things are taken care of, and especially that factor that the traveling for the outside folks. Again, there's only 19,000 people there. Just think, twice as many people potentially could go to this game in Jacksonville at a cheaper cost. It's very hard to find reasons against this. And that is why you, Rattler Nation, you must make your voice known and make your voice heard. If you can find an email address with our athletic administration, maybe you have to make phone calls. Maybe you have to send tweets. Maybe you have to send an email to Dr. Robinson. I don't know how you're going to reach anybody. Anyway, go ahead, Kelvin. What you want to add?
Oh, Florida State does play. I put it in chat, but Florida State does play, but they play on Monday. So they still will have some fans in that weekend, and it is a holiday, and it's a holiday weekend, so hotel prices will be high. But the other part the only thing I want to emphasize, and we closing this, is that I love the fact that we having a discussion and we peeling back layers of the onions, because you don't get this from FAMU Athletics or our administration typically. So to have this information out and just to kind of kick it around, I think it's important that I emphasize that we have to learn how to be good partners. The university got to learn how to be a good partner with the alumni, first of all, and its stakeholders, but also in whatever agreements that we do decide to enter into, we have to learn how to be good partners, because nobody's an expert at everything. And these are
Correct.
we having issues in raising revenue at the level we need to raise it to sustain our athletic programs. So that means we have to look at other options, ideas. I mean, if you say no, then tell me what you offer in the absence of that revenue when you need revenue. So if you don't have anything, we got to figure out a way to start working together and finding our way to yes. And that's my little spiel.
Yeah, I think your only pushback, and not to play devil's advocate, City of Tallahassee just gave you $10 million, and they're from the Blueprint Tallahassee funds.
That has nothing to do with FAMU football, though. It
has
nothing to do with
that was for
budget.
the stadium, not for the budget, but for the stadium. So I think that kind of, and I think she's gone back to mention that she's gone back to ask them for additional funds. So I think that may be your only pushback, where the city's giving you millions of dollars, and you've given them
They did
back
the
with the
same.
playoffs and
They
everything else.
they
So,
did they did the same thing in Florida State, and they playing neutral site games too. So
And
agreed.
I mean,
besides the expected
what are we
15
talking
million,
about? But I understand you're right. That is something that's put out there. But I just want to say that they give money to a lot of different organizations, not just FAMU. And specifically when it comes to athletics, they just gave TCC some money for their baseball facilities, and of course they gave Florida State, and they got major projects going over there with their
Right.
athletics, and specifically a stadium. And they playing where in Ireland their first game. So we got to do what's best for FAMU athletics.
Right.
and besides the
And
15
we've always
million,
said if we don't take care of ourselves, nobody else will.
Right.
right?
We've
But
always
I just want
said
to add,
that.
I want to add this. There's a 15 million supposed to be coming, but it is not conditional. It has no bearing on FAMU athletics or football. There is not conditional. The $15 million is not for FAMU home football games. It's just the administration determined that they want to play 5 home football games in Tallahassee. And those of us who've been around for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and those of us who travel from different parts of the country, it's just not feasible. It's not feasible. We're not maximizing revenue at Bragg Stadium. And Everbank Stadium is an NFL stadium. We want to give our students that experience to play in that caliber of stadium. And for the alumni, they have all the amenities. They have the suites. They have the cabanas. They have everything you want. And that's the experience we need to elevate to. So again, that 15 million is not conditional.
All right. If you want to find out more information about the First Strike group, their email firststrike1987 at yahoo.com. I know they are working on the website and things to kind of make something a little more easily visually ease for everybody. So I know that'll be coming. But in the interim, you can always reach out to get more information, find out how to help the cause. Maybe you might even be someone that might be interested in being a part of the group. So you can reach out there, and I'm sure either one of our two guests, Andrew or Michael, will respond back and reach back out to you. That's First Strike 1987 at yahoo.com. Well, gentlemen, I certainly appreciate you guys coming on. And it's a great proposal, great idea. I'd love for us to continue to try to push the narrative. I know I've talked to Kelvin about trying to see how we can possibly get this into a story format, with some additional visuals to sort of be able to tell the story and put it in print. Maybe even get it put in print via the Black College Sports Network, and then maybe see if we can help garner some attention and gain some traction that way. So that's one option. Anything I might have left off, gentlemen, that you want to get in very quickly before we head to our break?
Hey,
Michael or
Brian,
Andrew?
put Terrence's comment up there. Terrence Henson's comment.
Terrence Henson. All right. Terrence Henson, the city of Tallahassee did not give FAMU $10 million. Okay. That was taxpayer money. FAMUans have been paying it year after year after year. It's about we got to return on our money. Well,
that's an excellent point.
Disagree. It's a great point.
He's got a point.
It's a great point.
He's got a point, but my tax dollars go to that stadium downtown, and we play there once a year. So that's my only buck on that. I agree, but just say,
guys, I think we need to just citizens of Jacksonville, if you want this game in Jacksonville, you need to reach out for FAMU Athletics administrators and let them know that you want the Gateway Football Classic return to Jacksonville. And those of us who really want to see FAMU Athletics go to a higher level, again, we are an affinity group that's advocating for FAMU Athletics. It's $350 on the table. But again, we got bonus monies and other things. And it's all about FAMU. That's what's so impossible to believe. We're advocating for FAMU. We are Rattlers. We're Rattlers. We're going to take that money and pour it right back into FAMU athletics. Win-win. So again, just reach out for the president, reach out for the AD, and let them know there's an affinity group out there that wants to elevate FAMU to a higher level when it comes to FAMU athletic facilities. And this is one of the projects that is going to help us do that. And there's an opportunity for the affinity groups and the DSOs to have equity in the Jacksonville Gateway Football Classic. It's just, we are just rinsing and turning that money right back to FAMU athletics, and it's falling on deaf ears, and we need your help.
Well said, gentlemen. Well said. Appreciate you guys coming in tonight. Again, one more time, First Strike 1987 at yahoo.com. Find out more information, not only with some Bragg Memorial in stadium incentives, but also this initiative to expand the reach. I mean, it's going to take a lot of convincing. It's going to take a lot of convincing, and maybe we'll see. I mean, this is the first beginning of the conversation. We'll see as the months go by. Hearts may warm to the idea. Always a possibility. Andrew and Michael, appreciate you guys coming on with us tonight. We appreciate your insights and appreciate the First Strike group coming in for consecutive weeks and letting Rattler Nation know about what you're trying to do. I personally, I think I speak for all of the guys here. We love the idea, and we just got to keep pushing.
Forward.
Yeah, got to keep pushing forward. All right, we're going to take a short break, step away, come back with more right here on the ONG Strike Zone, live here on the last Wednesday of January, the last day of the month, and we'll get ready to turn over into February, Black History Month. And on the other side of this break, we got some more Rattler news to talk about, and we're going to get into talking about hoops, FAMU hoops, with our good friend Olivia Antilla. On the other side. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up message quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, and Keith Hadley of Things Up Podcast joining us. What am I missing, fellas? What am I missing here? What am I missing? Come on now. What am I not seeing? I'm trying to be on the other side. I'm trying to see it from their perspective. You know, I mean, you're on mute, Keith. You're on mute. You're on mute.
My bad. And one, you got to break the news about Smitty Rock. He made it official.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. I was gonna.
Okay. But then I think the other thing we're not seeing, some of our games we give up to like money games. Wouldn't it be interesting, just considering, and part of it, when you look at the future schedules, what if some of those money games were classics? Like instead of
Like
playing a money
Detroit,
game,
like South
exactly.
Alabama. Absolutely.
Exactly. What if we move some of those games to those classics? Because Jackson State does something very similar. Very rarely do they play games that are those type of classics. Part of that is because their stadium seats 60,000 people. But what if we move some of those games? So that would allow AD Sykes and the athletic administration to get back some of those coveted home games. And then you can all of a sudden create the Orange Blossom Classics. You can create the Gateway City Classic, and you can create those games in Miami and Jacksonville that are yearly games, and you keep your 5 home games that you want so badly. And between those 2 games right there, that's darn near $1 million in revenue right there. And you're not playing higher level competition. You're playing winnable games, and you're playing games that really your fans wouldn't mind going to. I mean, Brian, we're in Orlando. Miami's 3.5 hours. Jacksonville's 2 hours. Tampa's an hour and change, depending on which stadium you're playing at. And you have stadium options. Like, that's one of the things too. Like, you got to consider, like, in a place like Tampa, you really got 2 stadiums you can play in. Now, one sucks, the other's solid. But at the same point, that's something to just consider. If you do away with some of these money games and start turning those money games into your classics and have your South Carolina States, your A&Ts, your Hamptons,
Tennessee State.
your Tennessee States, flip those games into the guaranteed contracts where you're pretty much getting paid the same kind of money, and have them give you the band per diem. Everybody wins. And I think that helps the athletic administration keep their 5 games that AD Sykes wants, which I get. But then you also get those other games that give you the revenue money to give you that additional shot in the arm.
As well as what the fans would like to see. You know, we would like to play A&T and Tennessee State more regularly out of conference versus playing Troy or South Alabama. I would replace both of those games in a heartbeat with neutral site classic. So it's just option. It's just another option, and that we can have in our toolbox that we need to at least explore.
Yeah, because next we got the Gators. I hate going to Gainesville.
Well, look, you mentioned these guarantees. One of the things that came out just the other day was the amount of money that the UM game is going to generate. It ranks as one of the highest paid FBS to FCS games at $700,000, which ties it right with the $700,000 that North Dakota State is getting from Coach Prime in Colorado. Now, I wondered if that $700,000 from Miami is just a solo year, or is that multi-years? It sounds like it's solo year and doesn't include any extras.
As far as I know, it's a solo year, but that's one of the best. That's one of their best attended games. Like, outside, like some of Miami's best games are from the 2 teams from Tallahassee. When FAMU and FSU come, they know people are going to show up. Sadly.
So that would be the biggest guarantee that they have given us. They usually put a rider in of about $40K if the band comes. We know that it takes way more than that to move the band, though. That $700K this time is not including expenses, which again, couple of nights stay, 3 buses for the team. And what tends to happen every time, because it's Miami, you bring in the band, even though you don't have to. People don't know they charge for the seats that the band take up. So it eats into that guarantee. So that guarantee, when all the expenses are taken out between the whole party, not just athletics, usually, runs about $250,000 or so. So that
So,
guarantee is more like 400,000 at best.
well, but you're not referring to this game, but this game though, because there's no band, if I'm hearing what EA is saying,
If they don't go.
If they don't go, you're probably going to walk out of that game with about $500K after the expenses.
Probably. If it's just
travel.
football. Yeah, if it's just football.
And the NFL is not stupid. They kind of pay attention to these games. Like you'll probably notice the Dolphins are probably going to play a home game that next night, and the 100's probably going to be the halftime performance for that night. I mean, you see the same thing when teams go to New Orleans and when we go to Atlanta and stuff like that. They're probably going to try to double up that night or that weekend.
And so with that said, does it, to me now that you see that number, it does bring into, now I don't know when all this became known or if this was always known, but it brings into maybe a different level of focus, us not being in the OBC again this year. If you go off of the numbers of the OBC were nowhere near equal to what the University of Miami is giving even after. So I understand now things maybe start to come into a clearer picture as to say why we didn't want to go down to South
What you
Florida
mean?
twice.
Why do you say that?
Well, okay.
If you add the band travel and everything else with it, it absolutely is the same, because you was talking a guarantee of 450, 500, and 550, I think, for year 3, in terms of guarantee, but that included expenses. So you had a guarantee that it went straight to athletics, and then you had all those expenses for all those auxiliaries being taken care of too. So that absolutely would be apples to apples.
But I'm saying you don't have to take that trip twice, is what I guess I'm looking at.
As a fan, I'm not gonna lie to you. As a fan, I would.
That's my point. As a fan, and that's maybe
Who cares? Who cares? When we talk about finances, I want to make sure we clear, because what I'm talking about is FAMU Athletics finances. I'm not talking my personal finances, nothing else. It didn't matter if we go to Miami twice, because we're not paying but one time to go. So instead of getting one check, we could have been getting 2 checks. So we could have got the 700 and the 500 or the 475 or what it was for year 1. So we could have got both. It didn't matter if we didn't show up from the University of Miami game.
I got you. Okay. You brought me over. Makes sense. All right. Okay. The bit of a breaking news that came out during the show. Many of you guys in the chat room already caught wind of it. As of 8:43 p.m. via his tweet, Coach Ryan Smith, aka Smitty Rock, sends out the post that says, "All good things must come to an end. Thank you to all the players, coaches, and fans that has made this ride so special. Nothing like Bragg Stadium, the 100, swag surfing, and most importantly, watching the dark clouds take the field. Smitty Rock out. 1 + 2 = go hunt." And he has a gif of John Cena tipping the cap. And so we finally get that official word that we kind of knew, but we're just kind of waiting on it official. So, we thank Ryan Smith for his service, and we thank him for what he brought in. Like you brought up, like we talked about earlier, it's quite possibly Milton Patterson, who was a co-defensive, co-DC, may move into a spot where
unspeculated, unsupported is what they say.
Sure. All
That's what the street committee says.
That's what the street committee says. No confirmation one way or the other. Our unofficial hot take on that. All right. Are you guys ready to talk some FAMU hoops? You ready to get over to some FAMU hoops while we're running?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Both teams won in the same week.
Hey, but look at that, man. That's
not on the same day.
You're asking a lot.
Thank you for saying it, Keith. I was just about to say that. You're asking a lot. There she is, aka known as Liv for Hoops, our one and only Olivia Antilla. Liv, how you doing? It's been a while. How you been?
Yes, I'm good. How are you guys? Kelvin looks like he's ready for a party. I like the coat.
Let's go. Let's go. Old school. Thank you.
Good to have you on, Liv. And we got Keith Hadley joining us from Things Up Podcast. So we got a lot, man. Look, we it's been a couple weeks since we talked. We talked right after the Bethune game and games. And so what we have seen from our Rattlers, we've seen some wins. We've seen some wins, and we got to first talk. We got to first talk about. I don't know which picture to go with because I got all kinds of pictures of this young lady. But we got to start. We got to start with her. We got to start with her, right? Not only was she the National Player of the Week by Box to Row, but she was also the SWAC Player of the Week, none other than Ariana Grizzle. Not Grizzly for those folks out in the SIP. But that killed me the whole game. Anyway, Ariana Grizzle, who, by the way, I did some numbers here, some numbers digging here. The last 3 games, these are the numbers that she's put up the last 3 games. She's been the game high scorer in 3 straight games for the Lady Rattlers. 2 of those were wins. Of course, the loss most recently to Jackson State, but she still was a walking bucket with a game high 29 points in 35 minutes. And so what are you seeing from Ariana, Liv, that you love, that you like, and then talk about what you've seen from this team over the last 3 to 4, I guess you could say the last 2 weekends.
It's been like 6 games since we last talked.
It has been.
So Grizzle for me is definitely obviously she's the highlight. I'm glad she's getting this year to really show her skill. And I saw someone tweet online, why wasn't she doing this last year? Because different players have different roles under different coaches. So you'll see a player under one coach be used as the second, third, fourth option, and now her being put into this role, she's really showing her ability to score at all different levels, also defend and lead a team. She's by far the biggest highlight of this team. And obviously she's now actually leading the SWAC in scoring after these last 2 games. She's up on Zay Green by 0.4. Zay was up on her by 0.4 previously, but she is leading the SWAC in scoring. The issue with this team is if I'm another team, I'm face guarding Grizzle the entire game. That's what I say. Every time I watch them, I say, I'm full court face guarding her and I'm getting her in foul trouble. So they beat Southern, which was, that was a great game for them. Southern's on whatever type of trip they're on. I don't know if people pay attention to SWAC women's basketball, but Southern, before their last game, they lost 4 in a row. But they really struggle when she's not on the floor. And so my whole saying is, because I did the poll of who's your pick for newcomer of the year? I want people to understand this team would have 0 wins without Grizzle on this team. And that's the truth. They look to her so much that the offense, when she's not on the floor, there is no consistent offense. At that point, it just goes to one person who ends up taking very low basketball IQ shots, and that's Delancey. I've said it before. And Delancey looks good when Grizzle creates for her, and then Delancey makes a play off of that kick out. But when she's not on the floor, they don't look good.
No, yeah.
That's when I was watching Jackson State. before the game started, I said exactly what happened against UAPB is going to happen tonight. They will stick with them for 3 quarters. Then in the fourth, watch it. Jackson State's going to just explode. One, they have no depth. They have absolutely no reliable depth. They get tired, they get fatigued, and then all these last few games, Grizzle's gotten into foul trouble early. She had 2 in the first quarter, and then she went back in. I'm like, I understand, and then I get it though. You can't have her out because if you take her out, it balloons in the first quarter, and then you're down 20. But if you risk putting her in, then she gets her third. Like, it's so hard because teams are watching that, and they're just going to start downhill attacking her. But I can say picking up that win versus Southern was it was a good win because they were the last year SWAC tournament champion. The game versus Grambling, the 3 overtimes, I thought that game was never going to end. I was watching it like, we're going again. The men's team still has to play. Like, that was my mind. I was like, the men's team still has to play. And yes, they do only have however many players. They don't play their post players, which in my opinion is their best bet. But to say that about numbers when other teams are down players for injuries is just, it's excuses. What do you have walk-ons for if you're not playing them besides the one she just most recently started playing? The game versus was UAPB. I was like, oh, they're with them. Then the fourth quarter, UAPB just blew it open because they're tired. If you know you have a short bench, even though they look good when they press, you can't press any. Tired. By the fourth quarter, it's over. The Valley game was crazy. I was like, is Valley about to beat them? Because Valley's not bad this year, and I think because they're like known as the guaranteed win for every sport. But Valley gave them a run for their money because, Shadiman McKnight's really good. Jalea Reed's really good. Then the game versus Alcorn was a battle.
Did we lose? Liv?
Yeah, I think she's cycling. But I was at all those games, Brian, and I just jump in real quick with the ladies. We were without Sylvester. She got hurt in the game Saturday. So she's the one person who can handle the ball when Grizzle goes out and can create her own shot. So without having her available and without having Sylvester available, it really fourth quarter, Liv is exactly right. Teams just focus in on Grizzle and make the other teams try to beat us, and we simply do not have ball handlers. Man, if Grizzle didn't have to be the primary ball handler and be a legit 2, man, you think she's scoring now? I mean, she literally can score at will anytime she wants to. But we just don't have enough depth. But the fact that we're competitive and we're hanging with the best teams in our conference for 3 quarters, I think coach is doing a really good job. She's getting the most out of the talent she has. And if we can get Sylvester back healthy, we may pull out one of those games, with a good shooting night. Because we have played like Delancey, she's right. I personally think when Grizzle's out, Delancey has to handle the ball more. Because I tell you who cannot handle the ball.
We know.
Liv.
Yeah.
Liv.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it.
We
Oh
know.
man.
Don't even say it. We know.
I just go crazy every time. And we continue to make her try to handle the ball. And she get ripped. She turned the ball over. I mean, she's a spot up shooter. She don't have the lateral quickness and the feed or the athleticism to stick with those guards. And let me tell you something now. The 2 best teams I saw with my own eyes is on the women's side is Grambling and Jackson State. And what makes them so difficult is they have multiple players who can handle the ball and create their own shots. They can actually play. They got gym rats. Then they got like 5 of them, right? They ain't got one. So they can be very difficult to defend. And the fact that this team, coach has this team competing with those teams for 3 quarters, I think is a good sign. She's doing some pretty decent coaching.
I looked at the box score. For anybody who didn't go see the box score, if you maybe didn't watch the Jackson State game, 3 people scored. I mean,
Which that's another problem. You won't win.
Damn. Hold on.
They won't let it be great.
If you only have 3 people scoring, like it just can't be that way. It literally cannot be that way. When I thought someone was lying online, like making a joke, and then when I went and looked at the box score and it legit said only 3 people scored in an entire collegiate basketball game. This wasn't high school, like a collegiate game and only 3 people score. You're making yourself guard from a basketball player's standpoint.
And at the but what's crazy is, like you said, at the end of the 3rd quarter, we're talking about what was it, a 6-point game. We're only down 6 at the end of 3 quarters, and Grizzle has practically 50% of the points. The Lancey's dropping in probably 40% of the points. and then like, here's Super at you clean up whatever Delancey and it's like the total opposite. Normally you try to take away a team's best 2. Jackson State was like, we'll take everybody else away and dare you to beat us with 2 people. I mean, I don't know if that was the plan. I'm being funny about that. I don't think that was the plan, but one of my favorite players, Liv, is Shawnee Gilbert. I think Shawnee is like an Iron Woman out there. I mean, she the one stat line that she had in that triple overtime game where she played like
the entire game.
Like 50 minutes. There's only 55 possible minutes, and she played like 51 or 52 of them. Is she? Kelvin was talking about Sylvester, but I feel like between her, Shawnee, and Sylvester, they've got to be able to provide some consistency for this team to really knock off another team like they did Southern, or catch somebody else. What are your thoughts on that?
I said this in my matchup game between them and Alcorn, and I talk about Shawnee online all the time. She is a player that every coach wants because you don't have to ask her to do anything. She's the one who takes the charges, dives on the floor. She leads the SWAC in minutes per game at like 36.1. So she's like never coming. She's less than 4 minutes. She's on the bench. So with her, I'm like, she does so many other things. I know she's not always going to score, especially with her face mask. I can only like imagine how hard that is. But with Sylvester, she needs to give more. Like, she legit has to give more, especially because their post presence this year is just so like meh. Like, when they do play, they don't give a lot. I do like Latore because she tries really, really hard, and I think she gives the most effort. And that's why I'm not mad when she's on the floor, because I'm like, dang, she really goes hard. But they need other people besides, especially Grizzle, because again, if I'm watching, like they have Alabama A&M this weekend, if I'm watching, I'm sticking my best defender on Grizzle the whole night, and I'm saying, I don't care if you score. Your goal tonight is to give her hell. Be in her shorts, bother her the whole entire game. Because FAMU is in the top 8 currently based on standings. And for me, these next 4 games are non-negotiables. They're all 4 games they cannot afford to drop. Because Texas Southern, which that's a whole other different story. I don't know how they beat 3 top 3 teams in the SWAC and then lose to the 2 worst teams. But that's why they're just like a coin. You're laughing. They literally beat Grambling, UAPB, and Alabama A&M, and then lost to Alabama State and Mississippi Valley. Like, something's not adding up. But these next 4 games, because then after these 4-game stretch, they play at Jackson State. So these are really 4 games they cannot afford to lose if they have their eyes set on making it to Birmingham. But Shawnee's just that glue piece that she does everything else, I mean, she can shoot. She's shown she can score in double figures, but I think there's a lot of pressure on her to like guard some of the best players, get all these rebounds. Like what game when it was at Bethune, she had double figure rebounds. Like she's doing so many other things that I'm not always like, oh, she needs to score more, because she just does the non-stat things.
Keith, I want to give you an opportunity. Any questions or anything you wanna ask Liv regarding our Lady Rattlers?
Mute.
Wait a minute. Somehow you're still on mute, even though I saw you come off of it. You got a whole bunch of you got a great setup over there. You got all these microphones and headsets.
No, it turned itself off. So question is though, with what Gordon has brought in, what do you project for the future of this program? We've seen her bring in some guards, and maybe they are the people that can dribble. Like, what do you see as the future for this basketball program going forward?
The two people that she's brought in are very much so like wing players. I think, yes, is ball handling important? You 100%, because they struggle with that heavily. But I even think like late in the game, they can get a good guard out of a JUCO or something. They need a guard with experience. My biggest thing for them is they need a post player. If anyone's been paying attention, people talk about the guards a lot, but this really is like, it's a post conference. Every team, when we go to Bethune, they have Kayla Clark, Chanel McDonald, who I'm so sad Kayla Clark got injured, but those two are dominant. You have Angel Reese, who against FAMU had 18-5 and 5 blocks. Destiny Brown from Alcorn. Like, each team has a very dominant post. And I think in order for them to get past, because right now they're at the middle part of the conference, in order for them to be a contender in the top part, getting an aggressive, good post is definitely important. Obviously, I think highlights don't do a lot. So me as a former basketball player, I watch them. I watch the highlights of the two people coming in, but I need to see like real game film, because highlights are promoting your best thing. No one's going to put out like you're putting your best foot forward, but they are giving very much like slashers. The one recruit, she just had like a game high 38 points in their last one, but they're more wing players. So I think if they can add a point guard and a good solid post player, they could really make a run for, not in the top 6, top 4 for next season.
All right. So you said Alabama A&M and Alabama State this weekend. Two winnable games against teams. I'm just looking at the standings here. Alabama A&M sits right at 3-4 with FAMU. And then, of course, Alabama State is just a game below. Now, in terms of overall record, Alabama A&M has a better overall record, 8 wins against 11 losses, whereas Alabama State is just 2 games less. So those – I don't know. I'm not going to try to handicap these games. I wouldn't dare. But like, I do agree with you. These are winnable games that that this team has to find a way to win on the road. And maybe you know what I think about, Liv, those 4 games that we kind of lost during the non-conference, those games that were lost by 1 or 2
close
possessions.
game.
That's why you have those games, so that hopefully we can win these games this coming weekend. So I guess we'll find out what the ladies learned. That's as one way to say it. Okay, jumping over to the men's side. Over the last couple of weeks, we've gotten our first road win. We've gotten our first home win. We sent those Jackson State Tigers home.
The mangy Tigers.
I was almost cussed there for a second. Yeah, we sent them home with a loss. The thing that bothers me, what I've seen so far, is that we give up a lot of points. Man, we've given up now. Actually, we've given up 98, 96.
That game
Hell,
was crazy versus UAPB. Absolutely no defense was played that game by either team.
and UAPB likes to go up and down. They have a
Yeah.
very high pace. They're offensively, they have a high pace. So it's just like that kind of fit in with us. What's your eval of this men's team? You were talking earlier about us needing to play more inside. I don't know if coach really trusts his guys to play more inside, or maybe the guys don't trust themselves to play more inside. I don't know.
I mean, from what I've seen, right, it just they seem so out of sync. I will say I love Spear. Like, no one can make me not like his game. I love his game. I think he brings what this team needs, consistent scoring wise. But I don't know. I don't think their offense is good enough for them to not play defense. Like, that's the thing. So like UAPB can get away with, like, playing super fast paced because they have 3 players who shoot the 3 over 40%. So they have other things they can rely on when it comes to like their defense breaking down. Um I don't know. I mean, they got to win against Jackson State. I will say, I mean, a win is a win. You can't handicap any team. A win is a win. So hopefully this gives them some rhythm. And actually A&M is a winnable game for them if they show up. I know everyone's just on the campaign of moving on. A lot of people online, they're just they've washed their hands with the men's program. They're like, it is what it is. Like, they've become accustomed to them losing, which is sad. But it's just hard to really say because I feel like every game it's a different issue. Like Bethune, absolutely no defense was being played that game. They also couldn't score for stretches of time. Like, of course you should beat Valley. Everyone beats Valley. Like,
they're winless. Exactly. They have not won a game all season.
Exactly.
They beat the Sisters of the Poor. That's how bad it is over at Valley.
So I truly feel like one of the post players is going to end up leaving because they don't. And by the way, no one said this. This is not reflective of ONG or anyone on this stream. This is just my thoughts of analyzing game and minutes and the touches that these post players get.
Go ahead. Because I'm going to go there if you don't.
Hey, with chess.
I feel like one of the post players is going to end up leaving because the minutes are just, they're not there. The post touches are very minimal. And I will say, as a post players want to get touches, they want to get minutes. They're like same age. I don't know how you fix these problems. It's just they have issues. And that's just what it comes down to.
But when I look at the two post players, and I'm just so folks out there watching, we're probably talking Shannon Grant and Jadarius Eatman. Both of them are about 6'10", same size, right? They really are playing like one position. Like, I watched a game against Jackson State. Grant played 21 minutes. Eatman played 16. Well, you total that's 37. That's one spot. That's one spot on the floor being played by two people.
Exactly.
I mean,
let me just jump in real quick, Brian.
Please.
So with our post players, they are not the same.
No.
So Grant has actual big man skills. He has pretty good hands. He can catch the ball if you feed him, and he has legitimate post moves, right? So he can score off his touches. When Eatman comes in, he won't even look at the basket most of the time. He's athletic, but has no post moves at all. And he's often out of position. So he doesn't rebound consistently. And if you watch that Jackson State game, they got I don't know how many offensive rebounds when he was in the game. They beat us to the ball a lot. We also give up, so I can understand where Liv going. Shannon Grant he needs to be featured. especially when we in half court, because he's going against guys who 6'7", 6'6", who lighter than him, and when he get touches, he's productive. But he does not get the touches he deserves. And where I will differ, one of the few times where I differ with Liv is I hate Jalen Spears' game.
What?
And the reason why I hate his game is because it's so selfish, and he plays no defense, and he turns the ball over way too much because he think his handle is better than what it is. I do agree we need his offensive production, but I need his basketball IQ to be better. He's not Jordan. He can't just try to out dribble everybody and get ripped at mid court or throw the ball away. He's a turnover machine. So I would like to see more discipline and better shot selection.
Off of that, I can agree, but is that not a coaching problem of not holding your players to a standard? Because Jalen's been getting a lot of minutes. You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand where you're coming from, but I feel like he has the neon green light on this team to just do whatever he wants. Like his light is past neon. Whatever's past that, that's what he has. And that's why his shot selection won't improve, because he's not being told like, hey, like he doesn't get pulled a lot after making mistakes, at least yet.
In this
He
whole
got that Delancey green light. That's what he got.
Yes.
But I mean, like Kelvin's pointed out, we saw it even down here when they played UCF. When they kind of fed the big man a little bit, like it actually wasn't a bad game. Like now, once they started trying to shoot it up there like they're a bunch of Steph Currys, I mean, it was getting mollywopped. It was like, oh, let me go on head back over here to the west side, because this ain't gonna happen tonight. But there's a formula there. It's just, for me at this point, as a fan and as a supporter of the program, it's too late in the game. Like you kind of see the writing on the wall. It's the last year in the contract, and I think that's kind of, you hate to say it, as a coach, he's the walking dead. Like, bro, it's over. Like, no disrespect, but we all see, like, she hit a home run with the basketball coach. I mean, hell, a broken clock is right twice a day. But we about to have a whole nother coaching search. And honestly, Rattler Nation is kind of like, hey, bro, it is what it is. Appreciate what you did to MEAC, but since you've been in the SWAC and since you lost your best player, it's been a whole lot of nothing.
I just want them to, when I was watching the men's games, like throughout all this season, I said early in conference play, I said, the SWAC is a very guard dominated for males. It's every team pretty much, almost every team has like that go-to scoring guard. Like from Southern, it's Joseph. They have Harmon and Hetty at Bethune, Ken Evans Jr. But
Keith Lamar.
I mean, yeah, but all these other teams use their big men. They use them in some type of capacity, or they use them some way, somehow, to make them valuable. I just want them to use Shannon Grant. Like, that's all I want. Use him more, use him consistently, especially playing A&M. A&M has one of the biggest, and he's big. Like, I'm not talking about height. This man's big. And they're going to need Shannon Grant to go head to head with this guy. And I just want them to feed him, because everyone's saying when they give him the ball, he's not a black hole. He knows how to make reads. He knows how, like Kelvin said, he has post moves. He's not a black hole. He knows when to kick. He's a smart basketball player. And I don't know if it's the selfishness of the guards, because it's not just Spear. I've literally watched them look right at this man and then jack some crap up.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's why I'm like, what is the coach telling them? Because if I have Shannon Grant on my team, I'm like, first play of the game, unless it's a wide open shot, we're feeding him until they can stop it. Because common sense, for anyone who doesn't know basketball, the sooner you get your posts involved, the more the floor opens up for the guards. Like, come on.
And you pointed out that shot selection is atrocious. I mean, Brian, we were doing the show, we pointed out during the game, we're just looking at the shot chart and we're like, why? Like, it wasn't even a who shot John. It was just a whole game of why. Like, WT heck. Like, why are you shooting here? Why are you shooting there? Why? Like, literally, we were looking at, and you saw when you looked at it, when it hit halftime, they completely changed their game to attack the post, and FAMU was still just kind of like, nah, we're just going to keep playing our game. We hope it falls. It didn't.
Hey, B Starks, we don't mention that name on this show.
Nope.
Okay.
We don't talk about the unicorn.
We don't talk about he who shall not be named, everyone's favorite 3-point shooter, which so we don't know where he is. We don't know. We don't mention his name because we don't know.
Hey, he might be a TCC for all we know.
Who knows? I mean, we just don't mention the name, okay? So y'all need to. That was like 2 seasons ago. Yeah, the man had one great game, and y'all have held on to that like Kobe scoring 81. I mean, just let it go, y'all. Let it go. Okay, stop mentioning the name. Okay, so in the standings for the men, Alabama A&M sits right below us, or actually right with us, but they have lost 5 games in a row.
They're not bad though. They're not bad. I think their record is I've watched them. I listen to their coach talks after the game because they do it with the men and the women. Because I'm like someone who likes to stay. Yes, after the game they
talk?
do.
You get live coverage of the coaches talking. What?
Yes.
What school's doing that?
A&M.
Get the heck out of here.
No, I'm not. They do, and they post them on YouTube.
Damn, free?
Yes, for free.
Oh wow, man.
And
okay, just checking.
They're figuring things out, but they know how to be competitive. They have players who can really score. I wouldn't look past them. I think they may be like evenly matched, but if they cannot stop Dalen Smith, who is like he's a little light-skinned baller on their team. He's gotten SWAC player of the week a few times, and then their post players, FAMU will lose this game because
that's a tough crowd too. That Alabama A&M, Liv, you probably remember going in that house. Those dogs, boy, they get after you. And
It's a new
especially
house.
and it's a new house, so it's like they got even more room
Yeah.
to get real rowdy. They get after you, especially so if you come in there stutter stepping, that crew of fans, especially the student section right there on the ends at the end line of the baseline, ooh, they can get after you. So we got to be ready to go in and deal with a tough road environment, as they like to say, a hostile road environment. And then
we
go
got
to
one.
Montgomery.
We got one. I was just gonna say real quick because I see somebody asking about it. Love Bettis. He's hurt, but he should be close to being able to come back because he had a ankle sprain, I believe it was. So he's been out for about 4 weeks now. So it's right about that time with that type of injury that potentially he'll be coming back. And if he comes back and then is kind of anywhere near what he was and what he can be, it'll be interesting. This team will be interesting down the stretch because we know they have pieces, but the coaching is so inconsistent, man. So we talked about Shannon Grant. Shannon Grant didn't even start the last 3 games until Jackson State. Now he started the Jackson State game, but I mean,
so weird.
I have no idea.
Doghouse?
Yeah.
Is he in the doghouse? Well, what did he do? Was he in the doghouse?
I feel like he was trying to match up against like Bethune's starting post player has more of a like athletic build, so I feel like he's trying to match the post to the other team, but like you don't have to do that. But it was weird because when I checked the box score of games, I was like, why is Grant not starting? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
All right. And the other part of our Alabama trip, of course, we got to take on Alabama State.
Woo, good luck with that one.
Currently they're in a 3-way tie with Southern and Grambling for first place in the SWAC. 10-10 is their record. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough
You're being nice. It's not going to be a tough one. You
No?
might as well. You can save your time on that one. Just go, make some
and that's
popcorn.
another tough environment. That's another tough environment where and now Kelvin, we're gonna see what I think are 2 of the better home environments in the SWAC. I really like the energy that Alabama A&M and Alabama State bring to their basketball games. How would you evaluate what you've seen at the Lawson Center from the last couple of home games, especially this past weekend, and then maybe juxtapose it from the previous two?
It's not been good. Just being honest. I
Mm.
believe up until recently, the band had maybe the last game. The band had been at any game at home, so you had that element missing. The students have not been in any kind of numbers supporting the team. It's really been uh it's been
Sterile.
bad.
It's
Yeah,
sterile.
it's been bad, and
And then you got those
not a
seats
whole lot
pulled
in it.
out. You got
Yeah.
that little, the little
What? Okay.
bougie section they're trying to
What is?
create in the
Yeah.
south part
What is
there.
going on? What is going on with that? What is that? What is that now?
The
Is that like
student
a
or
VIP area?
bougie balcony.
Yeah, they moved the area for the season ticket holders who have the champion package for basketball that includes food. They moved it used to be at the top of the concourse. Now they've moved it to the where the stage is for convocation. So that's what that area is down there.
More
UCF has
VIP.
something similar, like
I
so
saw
we did
UCF
see
had something
that,
like that.
but it just doesn't look right to me, man. It just, I mean, it's already a dead environment, and nah, bro, it's not. That's not what it is.
And so the
Demetri
student
is
section.
right. The band was there for the first time against Jackson State, and they were actually cheering too.
Oh wow.
Leading chance, like let's go and defense, and so forth. They did it the whole game, and it was helpful. It contributed. It did contribute, I think, to the team. And of course, when they blowing at the top of their instruments, right behind, because now they right behind the benches. I crack up laughing every time I see it because you can see the coaches standing looking back. They ain't gonna be able to hear me. They ain't gonna be able to hear me, and they up there trying to talk. But yeah,
You
yeah.
just start
So
drawing stuff on the board. That's all you gotta do. Just go to the board. Don't even bother trying to talk to your team. Just go to the board. All right.
yeah.
Hey, Liv, hey, we appreciate your time tonight. Give us who's your top team in the men and women in the swag? Maybe
Ooh,
your top 2 or 3 right now. I know it fluctuates because the
yes.
season is crazy. But right now, who are your top 2 or 3 teams on each side?
For the women, everyone has to obviously say Jackson State because they're undefeated and their closest game has been 19 points. That was a shorthanded Bethune and then FAMU. So no one's even come close to touching them. So clearly them. Then I have Grambling. Anyone who's watched them just sees like their depth. They're they're a fun team to watch, and for them to come in with the first year coach and like be playing like this is very exciting to see. And then UAPB. So the
Lost her. I think Grambling and Jackson State are playing this weekend. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going on this weekend. Let me bring Liv back in. All right, you got UAP. You said so. You got Jackson State, Grambling, UAPB on the women's side, and I was just saying that Grambling and Jackson State are playing this weekend, right? I think they are playing this weekend.
okay. Jackson State and Grambling are playing. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my internet right now, but
Right.
Jackson State and Grambling do play this weekend at Jackson State. That's going to be a must-watch game. And then yeah, those are pretty much the 3 teams. Obviously, Grambling and UAPB have drop games, but I'm not, as I've seen them play different teams and seen different things. But that now, as the season's progressed, that 4 through 8 is really wide open, in my opinion. And then for men, oddly enough, Grambling is not in my top 3, although they're tied for first right now. But I do think Southern, I think they have the pieces. And like Joseph is just, I mean, that man can straight up score the ball. And I will say his shot selection can be more efficient. He's a little bit better, but he definitely has the neon light too, and like the ultimate just do what you want. And then Alabama State, they look good. They really have the pieces. Madlock, I love their post player. I think he just plays his role. He does it so well. With Isaiah Range coming back off of injury, they're really the team to watch for. And then I really have. I'm gonna throw Bethune in there because they beat a healthy Jackson State. They beat Southern. Then they've been playing really good. And with Zion coming back and really, I feel like they're finding their team chemistry with Hetty being able to set his feet while Zion Harmon was out. I think it just makes them like really, really. Hetty needed, like, I don't wish it on anyone, but Hetty needed his moment to get set with the team while Zion was out, and then Zion came back and was just on like a murder quest. So those are pretty much the 3 top teams on the men for me, but the men's side is so wide open. I say that all the time. All these teams are dropping games to everybody. Like, you just never know.
Yeah, you got 8 teams within, well, 8 teams all within a game of each other, between 5 and 2 and 4 and 3. And then if you want to add in a 19, Prairie View sits 1 game behind that. So it's just, I guess I don't know if we'll know anything because I guess we're coming up. Really, it's weird to think we're coming up on the halfway point in the season, coming up here after this weekend. But again, for FAMU, I'm trying to be optimistic here.
You are, but there's 2 teams that are out of it that unless they completely shock the world and win the rest of their schedule, there's just no way for them to
Valley and who?
Yeah, Valley and who? Valley and who? Because
we know it's Valley, and I think it does matter if Bettis comes back or not, and how good he is back off of injury. But for me, FAMU, just like their constant struggles and figuring things out. It's very late in the season to still be having the issues that they're having. And that's what's concerning to me and why I'm like, they're not going to make the 8 because it's the end of January. Why are we still dealing with these things and trying to figure out who's our go-to guy when everyone around is saying this is who it is, but no one wants to listen because they all think they're the go-to guy and they're online like, oh, I'm him. You're not. Like,
But isn't this the same coach from last year at the end of the season was saying that the players didn't know the plays in the very last home game of the season? I'm just saying, I'm just asking for those who want to ask in the post-game interview at the end of the season. I'm just saying, so it's kind of part of the course. Like, streetball, it kind of is what it is. You're going to take an L.
We run plays?
like street ball, look like the rucker all day. Just nobody could just know. We'll dunk on you. We sure sugar ain't gonna win nothing though. Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
2 years, players ain't learned nothing in another play.
I look, Valley. I didn't realize Valley was 0-21, but I'm gonna make a bold prediction. They're going to beat somebody in the SWAC. I don't think they're going 0-16, or is it 18?
18.
Yeah, I don't think they're going 0-18. So the question is, who's going to fumble in the last 10 games? Keith, you better not say it. Talk about a fireable offense. If you're in a bad spot, you lose the Valley.
You can't get fired at this point. You just don't get renewed. There is no firing.
Okay, there you go. You're right. There you go. I got you. But yeah, I'm dreading that Valley game when they come to our place. It'll be just like some foolishness where anyway, that's a long ways away. Hey, Chuck, we agree with you 100%, Chuck. Liv is one of the smartest and sharpest basketball analysts that are out right now. We love listening to her as well. That's why we try to have her on as much as possible as we can. And if you want to get your basketball fix and even start to learn how to appreciate this SWAC women's basketball culture, which is a hell of a culture. I mean, there's some really good teams and some really good games. If you want to get started, say you've been kind of on the fence, just follow Liv at Liv for Hoops. All right, as I say, at Liv for Hoops, or die lonely. That's the best way. That's it. That's the motto right there. So make sure you check Liv out on social media. She gives great game previews on game days on Saturday Well, really, you do those Friday and Sundays, right? When you drop those, because really it's the day before.
Friday is like I do individual matchups for each individual videos for each matchup, and then Monday's just kind of a quick preview of the matchups and like just very quick things because I don't have time to make
I got you.
12 videos that quick of a turnaround on Sunday. So
I get you.
Yeah.
You doing your thing though, Liv. It's love. It's love. We appreciate watching you out in the space doing what you do. All right. Hey, thanks for your time. How's the weather up there in Minneapolis? How's the weather?
It's 51, no snow. Yeah.
Well, y'all out short. That's short weather. That's short weather out there.
Me. You see these people out in flip-flops and shorts right now. I'm kid you not.
I know. I grew up in Indy. I know when it gets 50, boy, folks, all of a sudden they start coming out of clothes. 50 degrees in January, boy. All right. Well, be well, Liv, and we'll look for your post over the weekend upcoming. That's at Liv for Hoops on social media. You guys make sure you follow and make sure to send Liv a thank you for coming on and talking FAMU hoops with us and more. All right, Liv, be well. Thanks again. All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Good to see Liv on. Always good to have her on. All right. Y'all got some energy left to talk budgets real quick.
Yeah. Let's go.
I do. I gotta go and come right back, but you let me back in. I got you.
What? How you got it? You want me to take a commercial break, or you got it like a short little break? Is that what you got, or are you gonna be a minute?
I got a short little break.
All right. Here's what I do. I'll take a commercial, and if you're back, you're back. All right. So I'm gonna take a commercial break. Come back, and we're gonna get into talking about this budget and how VP Sykes is going to balance the budget and get FAMU back in the black, FAMU Athletics back in the black. So we're going to talk about that on the other side. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em. It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, Keith Hadley here, filling in for Marcus Green. Appreciate Liv for joining us in the last segment, talking FAMU hoops. Damn. Yeah, EA, he was coach of the year, 21, 22. Yeah.
He also had a certain player on that team too, though.
He had a player of the year. Sometimes it works like that, right? When you have a player of the year, you make good players, great players, make coaches look good.
Or maybe his offense is best run when he has a dominant guard and a couple, of pieces to go with it, But that's just my perspective.
He had 2 other assistant coaches on that staff too, though.
That have since quit because they saw the writing on the wall.
Oh, hey now.
Hey, man.
Hey, it is what it is, right? All right, let me little housekeeping things here, a little Rattler roundup mixed in. How about these ladies? That's a tough photo.
Put some respect on their name.
Yeah, exactly. Put some respect on them. They were the SWAC champions. That's just a tough photo. I'm a big fan of that photo. That's a tough photo. But shout out to our women's tennis team. The ladies opened the season with a 4-0 sweep over, was it Southern Miss?
Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg.
On the road. Went out and got it done. Even did so well. One of the young ladies, actually, Genesis Whitlock, she played so well. She was actually part of a doubles team that won their doubles match 6-2, I believe. And then I believe she was then she played singles. And I'm trying to remember she was either the 1 or the 2 in the match, but she ended up beating her opponent 7-5, and then she won the tiebreak in the second set, 6-0 or something like that.
Yeah.
And anyway, she earned Player of the Week honors in the opening weekend of SWAC tennis. So shout out to the Genesis. And the ladies didn't fare so well the following match, though, against South Alabama. South Alabama turned the tables, beat them 7-0. But a couple of those were actually pretty good. A couple of those matches went deep, if I should say. Our home opener is tomorrow afternoon, 1:30 p.m.
Yeah, and one of the things, these are 2 of the most slept on programs, but I can distinctly remember even in my college days, these 2 sports routinely play like the higher level Division I schools at home. Like, it's not uncommon to see a bus that says Clemson at FAMU and they're playing softball or playing tennis. And so, we kind of don't mention that when we talk about these, even though they're non-revenue producing sports, they tend to bring some big names into Tallahassee and into the university, especially. And these schools are smart. They're playing Florida State. They just double up and play FAMU a lot of times.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the tennis fundraiser is still happening. And now last week when we had Coach Nikki on, and I'm going to share this screen because I got it pulled up here. The tennis program was running a fundraiser, not very similar to what what softball was running just a week before when we had them on the show. So as you can see, a week ago, the goal was to raise $10,000. Now, when we talked to Coach Nikki, one of the major things that she's looking to try to improve is the streaming capabilities of matches, so that it helps these young ladies with their exposure. Two, helps their families see their games, and hey, three, it gives us fans who aren't in Tallahassee, who can't make a 1:30 afternoon match, give us an opportunity to watch. So they're fundraising for this. Now, as you can see here, there's only 9 days left in this fundraiser. You can donate in any quantity. You can donate as up to 500, 250, 150, 100, or any dollar amount that you want. We gotta find a way to make this number go up, Rattlers. Okay. I think do I have the link? I got the link. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna copy the link and I'm gonna put the link in there in the chat room. All right. So what we need for everybody to go to the tennis fundraiser. Okay. And there it is in the chat. And let's start helping this number get up. This is only 10% of the target. Now, one thing that kind of and the reason this is happening is because this gives them access to the funds quickly. We can have a deeper dive and discussion as to why our tennis program is raising funds for video equipment to go
operational stuff.
Operational stuff. Thank you, Kelvin. Technical term for operational stuff. Very similar to the operational stuff that our softball team is fundraising for, and they hit their goal, by the way. So thank you to everybody who donated to the softball fundraiser, which their fundraiser, they exceeded the $10,000 goal. So congratulations to everybody who supported. If you go to games, they said they were trying to improve. One of the things was like new uniforms and things, but also a concession stand, a legitimate concession stand. So maybe that'll start to come. And when you go to the games, you'll have a chance to buy food at a real concession stand. Operational expenses. I know FAMU Athletics is in a deficit, but damn, that's how I really feel. I'm just like, really? We got our coaches.
Can we ask the other question? Like, we all know, some of our affinity groups, and some of which I'm a member of, recently, raised some money and said they were going to give some money to the coaches' funds. Can some of that money go to the tennis team and the volleyball team and some of these teams that are trying to raise funds? I mean, okay, we raise funds, and some of these groups backed off when it wasn't Willie. Okay, it's not Willie, and Willie ain't coming back, and Smitty Rock's gone. So can we now reallocate some of these funds to some of these groups, which they normally do support? And some of that may take, a little, coming back at AD to kind of talk to them and include them in some more stuff, or, whatever. But can that happen? Just saying out loud.
Mr. Campbell, you bring up a great point. I don't think athletics is promoting these. I will say that they aren't promoting these. Now it's almost like, hey, you can go ahead and do it, but athletics isn't promoting, which that's a whole nother thing. So I'm calling out the FAMU boosters. I'm calling out, hell, come on, athletic boosters. This is part of what you guys are supposed to be doing, right? Helping support all of our athletic programs. That's what the charge is supposed to be, right? I heard that on the call, Keith, right? Okay, just checking. There are other organizations and DSOs, related to athletics. Maybe some more targeted towards specific sports. But man, it'd be nice to yeah, exactly. JT brought up, yeah, 50K was raised for, but that was for, what was that 50K for? That the women's
I
athletic
thought that was
fundraiser,
for the Althea Gibson thing.
that was for a statue, wasn't it?
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, don't get me started. Let me not. I'm gonna start something. I'm gonna get in trouble. So let me stop. All right, but
We building
yeah,
statues,
yeah, we build
but players need equipment and jerseys.
Well, I mean, look, yeah, exactly. Well, but see, I don't know. Was it all for women's athletics? Was it for women's was it all women's athletics?
I thought it was specifically for tennis, but
I
don't
thought
know.
it was for a statue.
But and then I thought they were also supposed to resurface the tennis courts. Like, yeah, jokes aside, they're actually supposed to do some facility upgrades to like the tennis courts and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
I always thought that, I mean, when I was in school, we have a physical education degree, so the track and the tennis courts are laboratories. So I don't know why it's up to athletics to raise money to resurface those. Yeah, I said it.
Especially when you can't practice in the basketball gym whenever you want to, because that's technically an athletic facility too.
Man, look, all right. So let's
look. You got the cousins on here now. We both ain't gonna hold no punches.
I got it started. So see, I'm gonna have to keep moving to keep y'all two from telling too much truth. From telling too much truth,
And you're supposed to replace the track with what money? And move that to brag and build a new stadium. Anyways,
hold on. There might be a fundraiser for that coming too.
They gonna sell raffle tickets?
Stop. See, that's why your computer froze. See, you're being ugly. Stop it. Stop it. You got sniped just because you said that. Come on. All right. Exactly, Hollow. Let's be positive. Positive week. Let's not be next. You got Mr. Campbell fired up now. Now he's gonna organize some raffles. And stop it. Okay. Let me make a quick mention of our softball team as the SWAC just released the preseason predictions and honors for the 2024 softball season. The predicted order of finish over in the East is Alabama State, followed by Bethune-Cookman, FAMU third. We did receive one first place vote. Jackson State, Alabama A&M, and Valley. That's your top 6. Over on the west side, in case you're curious, Prairie View A&M, who I believe was the defending champs, followed by Grambling, Texas Southern, Alcorn, Southern, and UAPB. FAMU had 4 young ladies. Those ladies that you see there made the preseason second team. Friend of the program, Nia Morgan, is the preseason catcher, second team. Second baseman, Kiana Watson. Outfielder, Mia Blasingame. And returning pitcher, our only returning pitcher, Lauren Peppers. Peppers. So that's those ladies' second team SWAC. And of course, as you can see, the opening schedule is coming up 9 days away. 9 days away from starting at home. In the home weekend is in town. They start with 2 games against Texas Tech at the soon-to-be Veronica Wiggins softball complex. Soon, I don't know when that's supposed to happen, but soon to be. Then you can see they've got a pair of matches against Florida State, and then they play University of Charlotte or Charlotte University this weekend. So that's softball coming up next weekend. All right. Okay. That was a bit of the house. I covered all the housekeeping. All right, let's talk about balancing the budget. So as of so it just came out. Tallahassee Democrat Gerald Thomas posted an article earlier this morning that outlined VP Sykes' plan to balance the budget. Of course, if you recall, and the Board of Trustees asked for a plan of action last Monday. It was received, although it wasn't published publicly. The Democrat did get their hands on it. And so if you are a Democrat subscriber, obviously you have a chance to go read it. We retweeted that link a bit. The main bullet points, some of the bullet points. So the plan to address athletics budget gap. And, I'd love for Kelvin, you to jump in here and Keith as well as you kind of view or read here. She states in this letter, first, we will focus efforts to realize and book earned revenues. What does that mean for the novice, for those of us who may wonder what are earned revenues?
I hope that means we get our guarantees that we supposed to get from those guarantee games, as well as those classics and the championship games and the SWAC distribution for us. So, and any pledges that they may have had from people that hadn't made good. So that's what that means.
And so Mr. Campbell says money that are contractually owed. All right. So yeah, we're okay. We're already owed that money. So great. You're telling me something that already should be happening, I guess, is what I'm reading. Okay,
yes.
Just checking. Okay, thank you. That break it down keep it simple for people. Okay. Second, we have met our obligations to pay NCAA penalties of $75K through our Athletic Foundation account. Okay. Third, we will ensure expense control through the end of the fiscal year and maintain this approach to live within our budget in future years. Okay. Feel free to jump in there, Kelvin and Keith. Anytime.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna let you go through them, and then I'm gonna jump in.
I'm waiting in it, and then I'm trying to see. Do you got the other thing pulled up that shows the numbers? If not, I did.
Oh yeah, I do have that.
I sent it to your Gmail if you didn't have them.
No, I got it. I got this after this. Fourth, she says our efforts with university advancement have identified $900,000 in funds that can be used to buy down athletic scholarships expense to help cover athletics operating expenses. And the last thing, they're in the process of implementing the Board of Governor allowed out-of-state student athlete fee waivers. The process is expected to realize at least an additional $660,000. This will reduce the anticipated scholarship expenses. That part sounds like something that probably should have already happened. But anyway,
we're late.
It's pretty routine. Yeah.
Okay. Your comments, your thoughts there, Kelvin. What would you like to add there?
The first thing the big thing that's missing for me is any revenue raising or sponsorship fund. I don't see anything being done from a athletic administrative perspective to generate revenue. There's no revenue generate. What this says is we're gonna cut and be cheap. That's what it says. And I mean, all those things are controlled, things that you can control that should happen every year. They typically do happen every year. So it ain't saying a whole lot to me, but I'm very disappointed that there's nothing to talk about driving revenue or increasing revenue. So that's a pretty low bar.
Yeah, and on top of that, when you're kind of talking about this year's budget and how we're projected to be in the black, I mean, you got 2 extra games, so you can't really budget that into next year, especially considering you don't have the same head coach. I think Colzie's capable, but is he going to guarantee to knock out the SWAC championship game for you to host again, for you get that additional ticket revenue and whatnot? No. Are you going to go back to the Celebration Bowl guaranteed? No. So all of a sudden, as Kelvin said, where's the additional revenue? And then what addresses the elephant in the room of the contracts that are broken up? Evidently, I think Vaughn said on this show, we're trying to go to Learfield Sports or something like that. Don't they work with Florida State and other teams and other companies? So it's like, within all of that, like, where's the deal? What's going on with Kraft Nissan? We ain't seen the Kraft boys around FAMU in a while. It's been a couple months. Like, just saying, like, where's the additional revenue raising? Because at this point, you got to work your way to come back to the alumni. So how are you going to get those extra funds in there to fix this? But then also, and I'll give her credit, that fifth thing, when I worked at Florida State in financial aid, they were doing that, and that's been almost 15 years ago. So you're saying we've been, for how many plus years, not giving out-of-state tuition waivers to out-of-state students, where literally you can just pass that buck over there to Larry Robinson. Hey, this is your bill, not mine. And you can just slide that bill smooth across the table and let the university eat that cost. Because it ain't like Larry ain't bringing in money. Athletics is the one struggling, but Larry bringing in millions. So why don't you continuously help your coaches to recruit out-of-state students and encourage that, and give them a tuition waiver? So that also encourages them to, hey, you want to be a preferred walk-on? Because that's part of why the Rodney Hill thing fell through, keeping it a bean. They offered him a PWO from what we're hearing. How much is UM? $75,000? I don't know about you, but my child in PWO in no $75,000 university. So, like, we got to get caught up, because when you're looking at that fifth one specifically, it says that there's an issue with both the athletics and the financial aid and the university, because in some way you ain't talking to each other, because these kids should be hit with a bunch of tuition waivers and stuff before their financial aid even gets touched. And that helps reduce the athletic costs. And that's what they do across the street.
Oh, by the way, so the original athletic budget was $10 million. And remember, I think they back in the fall sometime, because they understood that they were going to realize more revenue with the 2 extra games, that they were given extra spending authority that allowed them to go higher.
I guess there's a dispute regarding the law related to the waiver. I don't know about that. I mean, was that law recently passed, Keith? You're saying that Florida State was doing that.
Oh man, I mean, they may have changed the laws. Again, it's been a little minute, but they used to load those kids up with as many waivers as possible before they would even touch any type of aid.
And I know the Coach Shoot talked about it all the time too.
He did.
Our peers in the SWAC, absolutely give out-of-state waivers to their student athletes, all of them.
Yeah. You talk about the merchandise, and Campbell brings that up right here. I mean,
don't forget about the rings. We got rings.
Well, hold on. We'll get to that in a second. That key fundraiser. There's a key fundraiser right there. But yeah, merchandise. We've been talking about merchandise forever as something that is lacking or missing. All right, here's those numbers, Keith, that you were referring to. All right.
I like data.
All right, data. So break down what we're seeing here, Keith.
I mean, especially when you start looking to the left, first thing that kind of looked at me was that Florida Classic Consortium, and you start looking at the budget versus the actual recognized, and I'm like, what's going on here? I'm seeing 1 million here, and then I'm seeing 200,000. Some of those numbers there, cause you to ask questions like, have we not, as Kelvin pointed out, have we not received those funds and things like that? But I especially looked at when we started looking at your tickets and all this other stuff, and you're looking at over 100% that you got. That's temporary revenue. And so how do you build that? Because we see where the concessions were actually over as far as percentage, but you also had extra games, extra activities, and you have events and activities where you don't sell concessions. So literally, this is all based on football. No other sport really are you generating any revenue from. So now the question goes from just, hey, how are we going to generate revenue, to how are the other sports going to generate revenue? Because everything but football and basketball is free. You can walk in there and get what you want. Like, so there's got to be something to at least generate some type of revenue, because if the baseball and softball and tennis teams are raising $10,000 on their own just from ticketing and other things, maybe they're not over here doing these things where they're asking people to raise money for them.
I do remember somebody at the board. You were talking about that Florida Consortium number. I do remember a Board of Trustees member asking the very question about that, about why is it, and this was for last year, why are we not receiving the funds, or why are the funds even so late, in arriving? I mean, that money that has been generated from that game and the ticket sales is sitting in a bank somewhere collecting interest.
Mm-hmm.
And we
And the
control that.
SWAC Celebration Bowl, FSHAA, 1.25 million. You got 400,000.
So
I mean,
I'm not 100% clear on this, but let me try to explain some things that I have a little bit of understanding of. A lot of the regulation happens at the end of the fiscal year, not just for the university, but others entities. So they're not going to release that revenue until they've reconciled and got their stuff in order. Plus a lot of those guaranteed contract games and stuff, they generally have terms of payment on them. So I know, like in basketball, you know, it could be 30, 60, 90. It just depends. And it depends when you send those invoices in and they come back. So you don't realize those revenues immediately. And then I'm not sure of how long it takes when we do get those in for them to actually book. What you're seeing in the actuals is what's been collected this far. It's not a reconciled amount at this time. It's just what. So you're right. It's mostly football and whatever we receive as of right now.
So what this is saying to the board that has questions is that the total projected revenue of nearly $11.9 million will exceed the budgeted 11.3. And still the interesting things now, if you take a look at SWAC revenue, foundation support, which they haven't collected as of yet, there are some areas that have already been exceeded. Athletic parking, gate receipts, season tickets. Obviously investing in champions, waiting on some of y'all to pay y'all bills. I'm assuming that's what that means. And I see that. Keith, why'd you look that way?
it says $1 million and on the left, and it says 129,000 on the right.
That means they've collected 13% of. I guess, I don't know, Keith.
How you got tickets and you ain't paid? I'm just saying, like, I just dropped a nice hefty check for something at noon. If I did not pay my stuff, I would not have got it. Like, I got to cash at the wipe my half of the rent in a few minutes. I forgot. Look, if I don't pay the bill, ain't no lights. How you got tickets and you ain't paid no? Okay, never mind.
Okay. So what could go wrong here in these revenues, Kelvin, in this revenue projection? And I guess maybe should I flip over to the next screen and look at the expenses, because we probably need to have a realistic look at the expenses right there, which show
To answer Keith's question real quick, like that 13%, the question is, again, what you are seeing is what's actual, what's been reconciled. Not everything has been posted to the account. So it don't mean that the money ain't there. It just hadn't been posted yet.
And I appreciate that, because that's, because for the lay person, you're just looking at numbers and you're just like, make it make sense.
Well, remember some of those anticipated student athletic fee waivers. There's 600. You can see on the far right side the 660,000 coming off of the projected expenses is helping the total number come down. The identified scholarship buy down of nearly $1 million is helping the number. So again, to do quick math here, there's almost $1.5 million that's being saved. And I hope I'm saying that right, that we're saving, which is less expenses, which then brings the ledger, the revenues and expenses, to an even number. Now, the question, though, is, as obviously, look, this is great, but you also got to start thinking again, as many of you have pointed out, what is next year's budget going to look like? How are you going to even put that number together? And then the question is, you got to start. There has to be some means of creating and generating revenue, because
so let me jump in real quick, Brian.
Please.
In terms of the expense side here, most of the your top three expenses, there's really nothing you can do about it, right? Salaries out of salaries, your coach's salaries out of your coach's salary. It's market driven. So there's not a whole lot you can do with that. It would probably be a slight difference going into next year, your projection salary costs expense, just because of the difference in between your staff. You've lost two internal folks, as well as a head coach who was at the high end, and you've kind of so that you might see some difference projecting for next year, a little difference there. Also, scholarships are your scholarships. Now, one clarification I did want to make with the scholarship thing is, there used to be what we call a waiver. The waiver we did paid the balance between what an out-of-state versus in-state would be, right? So there was still a payment for those scholarships, but the waiver allowed for you to, instead of that student athlete to pay the out-of-state cost, they could pay the in-state cost. The rule change, to my understanding now, is that they can waive the entire athletic cost for scholarship. So that would be that's big, and that's definitely different. In terms of projections, let me just say, you have trends. We know what our budget was and what our expenses were last year, the year before, and the year before that. So you kind of just take your three most recent budgets. At least that's how I would do it. You take your last three budgets, probably throw in about a 5% increase, and that's kind of going to be your numbers. And frankly, your expense numbers don't change a whole lot. You know what it's gonna cost to run an athletic budget, and we've been talking about this for a while. The real number is around 12 million. That's at the bottom of the totem pole. But the real number, in order to run a athletic department, is about 12 million at a Division I program. So it ain't hard to project that. the buckets still stay the same. The only thing, the thing you show with your expense, though, and it's just my personal hang up. I know there are those who who I mean, people got doing what they got to do, but I have a problem with us having to pay back that money to that university used to pay for athletics. Now, I do understand, however, it depends how we made those payments and where we put that money from, because there's a way you have to do it, and maybe we didn't do it the way we should have. But I sure would like to see our university administration and board consider uh, doing a waiver, especially now since the board of governors has gave a little bit more flexibility in terms of um, auxiliary dollars and paying that back.
This is one thing I agree, Kenya. Southern shows the breakdown for each sport. I think it would really be eye opening if FAMU did that. I don't. There's probably very good reasons why we don't. I don't know if we ever will. Kelvin, has anyone ever asked that in those meetings? Why don't we show that? Or is that just a
No,
need to know kind of thing?
I've
But I
never
think
seen that at the board level. You know, you'll see that sometimes internally, but I've never seen that at the board level.
and I think that kind of helps your not so much your investing champions, but your athletic fund stuff. Like, and granted, when you're starting to look at it from farther away, the FAMU Athletic Fund and the Rattler Boosters are really competing for the same dollars. But you got to kind of start telling individuals what this budget is, because when we start seeing championships, we do respond. We just saw what Rattler Nation did with, hey, we just won a championship. And you're saying it, Brian. I've said it. Kelvin said it. We all said we want championship swag. I want the same shirts the players got. That white shirt, I can't find it anywhere. Like, we got the green shirt online, but that
Can't even
white shirt that they wore on the field, can't find it. And I don't know where else you've seen that. Like, how many times have we seen a 30 seconds after the game was over, where would the players wear? Like, literally, next Sunday, when the game is over, it's going to be where would the players wear? Hat,
Hey, they were giving
shirt,
those after the
everything.
championship game. After the championship game, I could have. If I'm a Niners fan, I could have got a merchandise that the Niners are wearing. You know, same thing for Chiefs. I mean, it's right after the game. It's ready to go, ready to roll.
Like, I mean, it's not consistent.
But we do get
Well,
these.
we did talk about real quick before we leave this budget thing. We did talk. We've been talking about athletic capital campaign and corporate sponsorship, and it was mentioned that the company we had to deal with pulled out in the middle of the season. So we definitely have some work to do in terms of revenue generation from within the department. I'm tired of hearing about the alumni and what they ain't doing. We see who everybody reach out to, from our athletic administration to our coaches to our players, when they need some funds. They ain't reaching out to the daggone president and the AD. They coming to the alumni. I need that side of the house to bring in the big dollars, which is what they supposed to be doing.
Yes.
They need to
And I
chip in
do
a little
see
more.
where we got that new hotel as a sponsor, evidently, but at the same point, if I'm not looking on the website, looking at the scroll thing to see who the sponsors are, how do I know who these sponsors are? Like, at a certain point, we do have to do a better job of promoting who our sponsors are to the masses, because that then creates a domino effect. As Vaughn mentioned here on this show, you no longer have the radio. Like, you should be advertising your sponsors on some of these radio shows. I mean, we get the same 2 or 3 on the coaches show, but you should be rolling your sponsors out there so that it starts building upon itself, and whoever's paying for these spots is like, oh snap, they're actually advertising, maybe I want to buy a spot. So it's just one of these things where at a certain point we have to get better about our sponsorships, and we have to be better about using the spaces that we have and the area we have to be able to get these revenue dollars going.
Great point, Keith. Oh, here's Jesus.
Oh,
Here's a great means of revenue generating right here, folks. National Champions fan rings available now for Rattler Nation. Now, here's what I find interesting, right?
Those are nice.
They
They're
are
nice.
nice.
They're
They're pretty
nice.
sweet.
I can't
they're
I can't hold on this. She didn't miss on that one.
Hey, we were talking about this. Now, would you buy? I'm going to in the chat room. Now, I'm not asking you if you are going to buy. So listen to the question. If you had the free money to buy, are you buying the ring or are you buying the pendant? Just type that one word in the chat: ring or pendant. I'm just curious. And I should have done a poll.
And there's only a $25 difference between the two.
There's only $25 difference between one or the other. So ring or pendant. Now, here's the thing. Okay, so they've talked about the players getting a Celebration Bowl ring and a SWAC ring. Now, instantly, there were some people that I saw on Twitter saying, oh, well, how can the fans get rings and you haven't gotten the players rings? I said, well, wait a minute. Did I not just see Jackson State doing a video for rings from the 2022 season? That's 2 years ago. That's not the past season. That's from 2 seasons ago. And Southern just did theirs for this past season. So I don't care if it comes out in the summer or the fall, or in Jackson State's case, 18 months later. Eventually, the players will get rings, probably 2. And if I recall, you were budgeted $400 and it's less than $500. I know it's like $400. You're allowed to spend. Now, I don't know if that's on one ring or in total for a student athlete. That's another thing I don't know. Because let's just say it's per ring. Because obviously there are teams that when they do multiple things, national championship or a bowl and a conference title, right? You might do 2 rings. We've seen that many a times, right? You'll do 2 rings. So let's just say each ring, let's just say 300 to 350. So what you're talking is 600 to 750 per student athlete / equipment staff, because you cannot forget about the staff. I know there might be some people that might try, and somebody should raise all hell if you forget the hardworking people who are part of the program that help make it possible for the players to play and the coaches to coach. They deserve a ring sponsored by the university. With that said, this fan rings allows, which is $300, I believe, allows for the athletic department to really pass the cost over to us as fans without them necessarily asking us for more, because they don't have to ask us for, hey, alumni, would you like to sponsor rings for the players? I know people would do it, but right now, you've asked a lot and you don't want to ask for any more. So this way, guess what? I did the quick math. Anyone can do the math. Let's just say there's about 150 people between players, coaches, and staff, right? Do the math. Now, 150 people, at $300 a pop, technically make it $300 then. So 300 persons. If 500 people purchase this championship fan ring or pendant, it will cover 2 championship rings for every player, staff, and coach. That's 500 Rattlers in Rattler Nation. I just got a feeling there might be more than 500 Rattlers worldwide that might feel real giddy, real excited. How many season ticket holders do you say you got, Kelvin? What's the season ticket numbers? Just give me a rough number.
What was about 9 or 10,000, something like that?
Season ticket holders?
No.
That was more than that.
No.
Less than that. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
lower.
Let's say 5.
500?
5,000.
Okay, well, hell, okay. If 5,000 season ticket holders, okay, I'm going to say half of those season ticket holders will buy this. You have covered your cost without even having to spend a nickel of your own athletic money, which you don't have, by the way, obviously. and you've got a surplus, which you could probably use for other sports in their rings if you hadn't bought theirs yet. This is genius.
Well, but this is also something that was suggested in meetings, like,
Yes, it was.
and
Yes, it was.
and
I
so
remember.
that was one of the things that was suggested in the booster meeting. Funny enough, the booster meeting, one of the ones she missed was, hey, what about buying championship rings? So, and having the stakeholders offset the cost. So, there's every once in a while, this is an example where an idea may have got shared, may have got spread, and she got to it, or she came up to it on her own. But this is what it looks like when stakeholders are engaged. Like, they share stuff, they tell you what they're willing to do, and then you deliver on it.
Yeah, I see. I'm reading a couple of comments here. I just posted there. Campbell said, "Less, even if it's 4,000, that's again. I just told you, if 500 people, that's your break-even number. And I'm doing real math in my head with no pen, paper, or calculator. I'm just saying, if 500 people, because again, we're just talking about a staff of 150 people, coaches, players, personnel staff, whatever, equipment staff. We're talking 150 people that should probably get a ring, 2 rings for the Celebration Bowl and the Swag Championship. So these fan rings, which cost you $300,
let's just say one ring. Let's say one ring. I don't know about that 2 rings. It is what it is. You put like
No,
they
and
put
you
it on
look at the
both
design
sides.
of the ring.
Call it a day.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
this ring is different. I mean, on this ring, as you can see, on one side it shows you SWAC champions with the score, and then on the other side it shows. Now, yes, if FAMU Athletics chose to go with this style, but I don't know. I kind of feel like the players should have something different than what the fans have, in my opinion. I don't know. That's me, but I get it.
They're gonna have something a little different. Yeah,
yeah. So, but you're
Yes.
okay. But even still, going with a one ring that commemorates both things is still pretty nice. It's a nice gift. And again, the fan ring is something that you will buy if you buy the pendant or if you buy the ring. That's going to be one of plenty of boosters at other universities. They wear their championship ring proudly, especially if you are a giver, man. If you are one of these, the dollars that you all spend in support of FAMU athletics, in support of FAMU football, you got doggone right. You should wear a ring and be proud, just as much as football players out there giving their blood. Look, that doesn't happen if you aren't financial and giving. So you're just, and it's funny. I read an article where somebody said they wanted to go away from the name stakeholders. Obviously, you don't understand what the word means. Then, if you want to go, because you doggone right, you are a stakeholder in this very thing. If you give money vested in champions, season tickets, if you're giving to any of these things that are happening, where you're being called upon to give money to help support FAMU athletics and FAMU football, then you doggone right. You should get a fan ring. You should buy a fan ring and wear it proudly at the next booster meeting or when you go to the game, whatever. Wear your ring proudly, man, or put it in your room. I know Kenya, she gonna put it in her fan cave, and I'm sure Keith, you got a fan cave back there. You gonna put it in yours, but that's where it should go. That's where it should go.
That's what it's for.
So all of the people on Twitter who were like, "Oh, where did the fans get their rings before the players?" Pump the brakes. The players will get their rings in good time. This is a fundraising drive. This is a fundraising drive. They won't say
and,
it.
and the fans pay for it. I mean, honestly, I get that the athletes, you paid for it in blood, sweat, and tears, but when it came down to cash money being dropped, the people who are also, as you mentioned, the stakeholders who are supporting are the same people that decide, hey, I got an extra $300 to buy a ring. Just saying.
Yeah, you look at a home attendance in the FCS, top 10, top 5 sometimes. You look at our classics, and we carried the OBC this year. Of course,
And the Florida Classic.
Florida Classic broke records. So absolutely, you got engaged fans who take great pride and follow you all across the Southeast and so forth. They should have the opportunity, and they actually wanted this opportunity. So I love it, man. I think it's beautiful, and I'll find a way to make sure I get mine. I'm gonna order mine, of course.
Again, just to answer Dr. Cavill's question, and I heard Sykes say this on the booster call, Keith, and I think she said, again, I know it's less than 500. It's more than 4. It might be in the ballpark of 450, 475.
Yeah, I can't remember that number now.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an NCAA rule that you can spend on, and I believe it's 1 ring. Now that's the next question, because I really think you can. I've seen other schools like Georgia. I hate to compare SEC money to HBCU money.
No, do that.
I can do that. Okay.
Yeah, because we quick to say what they don't do over there.
I got you. You're right. So I see. Good point. I see other schools when they win a SWAC in a bowl game, or their conference in a bowl game. I see them put up 2 rings, and so
sometimes 3.
Steve said it's actually 415. I knew it was 4 something. I didn't know what the number was. Yeah. Look, I love it. Doc's a major supporter of TSU men's basketball. He has several. See, that's what I'm talking about. See?
Yeah.
We should have been given this opportunity when baseball won a title. I'm just saying. But anyway, I digress. I'll step back.
Something commemorative. It would have been nice to have that for all the
I'd like
end
a
of the
t-shirt.
season.
I'm still trying to get a T-shirt of SWAC baseball champion, SWAC tennis, something. How about a multi-sport T-shirt of the 4 teams?
Just SWAC champions and just have everybody's on the back. Just
come on, FAMU
Athletics. I like that. I like that, man. Y'all putting it out there, man. That's good.
I'm putting it out there. I just need somebody. There's people who listen, people who designers, and they have licensing. Come on, man.
Right. Shoot, I wore FAMU LeBrons to work today. I'm just saying.
See. There you go. All right. I think that's going to cover it for tonight's show. Anything that we left off the table, any meat on the bone that we didn't clear off, Keith?
Oh man, I think I know personally my little hill that I'm definitely standing on is.
I can't wait for you to get on that. I can't wait for you to get on that. I hope you say where I think you're going to say.
We have to stop saying what other schools don't do and talking about how FAMU's alumni is overly aggressive. What it shows to me is a lot of you don't escape the HBCU space. One of the things you don't realize about FAMU alumni, first and foremost, we ain't loyal. We loyal to FAMU, but half of us have another team. Mine is Florida State. Half the people who went to FAMU is other ones UF. So consequently, we've been exposed to high-level sports that are run efficiently. And one of the things we started to learn and realize is how those alumni bases work. So you come and start telling us, hey, FAMU, you shouldn't tell the AD this or that. Well, you know what? When Jeremy Foley was at UF, he was told what to do. When FSU's alumni director was over there, he got told what to do. And what you started to notice is the big money boosters started telling people what to do. So I personally provided some proof and data, because you can see where Randy Shannon wanted to fire his staff, but the alumni said no. Where the University of Tennessee wanted to fire a coach or hire a coach, and the alumni said no. So this is not new. This is new to the
Willie Taggart.
Willie Taggart.
Well, how you think that happened?
Hell, the AD got fired and hired.
Hey, the AD who hired him months into that, after he hired him, had to go to the NCAA. He had to go.
That brother was gone. So for you to sit up here and FAMU alumni that we're doing too much. We're doing what FAMU do. We brag different. We're boisterous and we're trendsetters. You see what Kelvin's wearing. My cuz ain't playing with y'all. Rattlers, we are trendsetters, and we see what others do, and we see how it works, and we try to bring it to our own space. So for those that are now saying we're doing too much with the AD, no, we're doing what the other people do, and we're just bringing it to FAMU and adding our own swag to it. So it's gonna be the thing. If you don't like it, you can keep crying over about it, but we don't like mediocrity, and we do get rid of ADs a lot. But part of the reason we get rid of ADs is when they don't fit the culture, when they don't listen. And she ain't the first person to get treated like this. Sorry. There's a man named Kellen Winslow. Go Google it, go research and see how long he lasted at FAMU. Didn't last long. And part of it was because he did not fit the culture. And everything he said wasn't wrong, but he didn't fit the culture. Milton Overton fought backlash and a lot of stuff he was right. Didn't work. Courtney Gaucher, come on, y'all. Street committee know what's up. We don't do that brother like that. But still, like, it happens. It's part of what FAMU is. And once you start to realize that we expect excellence and we care a lot, and if you ain't giving that to us, you're gonna catch the boot. Is what it is, and we're going to fight you. But to sit up here and say what FAMU is doing is unprecedented, unprecedented truly shows that you're unlearned and you don't truly understand what it takes to be an efficient, high-level sporting operation.
Well, that boy Key. Well, I can't wait to catch the Fangs Up podcast tomorrow night. He got all kinds of he got some stuff to tell. Hey, they created a look, hey, they won a championship and then they created a petition to get rid of the AD.
At Michigan, right?
Michigan.
They lost.
Just now.
They won a championship, lost a coach, and then they started a petition to get rid of the AD. Man, and y'all out here crying about what we doing. Man, shoot. Come on, stop it. Stop it. You catch the Fangs Up podcast. Tell them what time tomorrow night, Keith, they can catch the show.
We're gonna move it to 8:30 just for tomorrow. I got a meeting with some friends, but normally 8:00 on Thursdays, and then Sunday we do it 7. So we're gonna move it back a little bit because I got some meetings with my friends we got to take care of. But yeah, we're gonna be there. We're gonna talk about that. You know, like don't put the Rattlers in a box. We ain't y'all.
Don't put baby in a box.
We are him.
We him. Been him. Timothy is our first name.
Oh Lord, that's beautiful stuff. Y'all make sure you check out the Things Up podcast, and make sure you log in and find them on YouTube, Twitter. Just type in Things Up podcast is where you can find it. Kelvin, anything we left on the bone that you wanted to mention?
Just that football recruiting next Wednesday. It'll be signing day.
Signing day.
And we did have a couple of volleyball players that got that. Yeah, some very big pickups. SWAC player of the year, but she's coming home. She's from Tallahassee.
Isn't that something?
Yep. Jada Rhodes. She's coming back home.
It's crazy.
Very big pickup. And then we also got a middle blocker who's a grad transfer, Brooklyn Thomas, who's coming from Winthrop University. So, coach, we lost in the championship this year. We lost what? 3 SWAC games this year. That's not the standard. So, Coach Gomez is resetting the standard.
Boy, I tell you what. That's all we got for you tonight. Thank you to everybody in the chat room, wherever you're watching us. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on our Facebook feeds, or if you're watching us on X, Twitter, we appreciate you. Make sure you're following us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at ONG StrikeZone. Go check out the BCSN Pod Zone. If you are a podcast listener and lover, all of the shows that stream on the Black College Sports Network, this show, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Carlos Brown's show, even we're getting some Alcorn State content from our good friend Charles Edmond, Brave Talk. Looking for if you're a content creator of a particular school, or maybe you just want to you want to talk about your school with the same passion and fervor that we talk about our university, I'd love to talk to you. Black College Sports Network, we're always looking for content-driven people who are looking to expand the brand and put more exposure, positive exposure on their university. Because we love our university. So we sometimes tell the dirty truth, but it's all done with love and because we care. We give a damn. Hashtag we give a damn. All right. So that's going to do it. For Keith Hadley, who filled in, we appreciate you coming in tonight, Keith. Appreciate the guys from First Strike, Andrew Whigham and Michael David, First Strike Group. Make sure you check that out. First Strike 1987 at Yahoo is the email. If you have questions or you want to get more information about the First Strike Group and hear about what they are doing to try to make some improvements and generate some revenue for FAMU Athletics. Genius, great stuff. We just got to keep beating our head on the table, and eventually somebody will say, "Damn, that's a great idea. Let's make it happen." I don't know. Maybe that's what it'll take. And of course, we always appreciate Olivia Antilla at Live for Hoops for coming in and joining us. Live for Hoops or Die Lonely, as I'd love to say. And that's where you can always find her on social media at Live for Hoops. For Kelvin Rozier, Marcus Green should be back next week because it's recruiting. Big recruiting stories to come out next Wednesday. Marcus Green will be back. Thank you to everybody. Appreciate you, Dr. Lori, for being in the chat room and doing all that you do. Appreciate everybody for the conversation, the comments, and so on and so forth. Hit the thumbs up and the like button on your way out the door. For my guys, I'm Brian Fulford. Bangs up, Rattlers. Strike, and strike again to anybody who just doesn't understand what it means to be a Rattler. Good night.
Thank you.